how your weekend went prior to the show in our meeting, and you just neglect the whole camping thing?
Well, tell me if this qualifies as camping. I slept outside the house.
That to me, that's camping. That's camping. 100%.
It's in our backyard.
You did this on purpose?
Yeah, we had family over. It was we celebrated my son's birthday from the week before, and we did this as well on the 4th of July weekend. And we needed a reboot, my wife, my son, and I, because we had our own tent for that one. And we brought an air mattress. I mean, again, it's tent, but it's an air mattress, blankets, comfort. I mean, totally fine. Slow leak in the air mattress. And between my wife and my son, who are both tiny and don't weigh as much as I do, just the slow deflate. I'm dropping I'm like, at one point in the night, I'm looking up. I'm like, why are they're so far above me?
You thought you were in bunk beds?
Yes. They ended up going inside, and I just ended up kind of being folded into a burrito of air mattress, and I just stayed. I'm like, I'm not going into the house. And then I was back out.
Okay, so you guys did this just for fun, or because you had so much family over that you gave them the house?
No, so much family over that we were also all outside too. My niece is like, they thought, let's just be fun. You know, they're young
cool.
Twins. They're like, let's camp outside. And it's like, okay, well, it's summer. It's not cold. It's safe, all that stuff. So we did a reboot. We tried it again. We had a better air mattress, and it was fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah, I wish I would have. And where I live, we don't have a backyard, so I can't. Isaiah's wanted to do that. Like, he'll go to different parts of the complex. We can camp there. I'm like, no, we can't. But he wants to do that too. And I'm like, okay. And I promised him, like, when we get a house in the backyard, we will camp outside.
How would he do in nature? Like, if you really went for it?
God,
no.
You're
not even going to try it.
I mean, maybe. He might do better than I expect, but he is so just not outdoorsy. But neither am I. I'm not an outdoorsy person. Not my thing. Not my thing at all.
I wouldn't say, as a kid, we did a bunch of it, but it's different when you're a kid when everybody else sets up your stuff. Sure. They're your
adults.
Those adults are responsible for all your stuff. And it's like, hey, did you bring this? Like, I think I packed back then. I believe I did, but you've got a sleeping bag. Someone else likely puts up the tent. As you get older, you learn how to do it. But now you're in the spot where you're the adult and you're responsible for all that. How, by the way, was Isaiah's first day of school? That was Thursday.
Oh yeah, he had a blast.
And he was dreading it, right? At first
he wasn't dreading going back to school so much as he was dreading not being on summer vacation, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like the actual, I have to get up and do things. It's like, yeah,
that's
son.
Good that he likes both.
But he likes first grade so far. We're 2 days in and we're 2 for 2.
Okay.
Now, I don't know what that's going to look like 4 weeks from now.
Right.
Because kindergarten, when he went there, he really liked it at first. And then the middle of the year was kind of a struggle bus. And then the end of the year finished strong.
Okay.
So we'll see how it progresses.
He's got a little of this. But as long as he starts strong, finishes strong.
Right. That's really what matters. Yeah. We all get a little tired midway through the school year.
True. First grade's pretty good. I remember a few things about first grade.
I remember the thing that sticks out to me the most from first grade was it was my first experience voting. They had us vote. It was the 92 presidential election, and they had us vote.
Okay.
And I still think, because they're like, well, we want to teach you guys how to vote. So I remember we got it was a little piece of paper.
Yeah.
And you picked either H.W. Bush, Clinton, or Perot.
Okay.
I voted for George H.W. Bush because he was the president, and I'm like, why would I not vote for the president?
This is the name I know.
That didn't make sense to me. Why would anyone not vote for the president?
That sound from a, 6-year-old? 5, 6,
I
7?
was 7.
7.
Yeah.
Election fraud in the first grade?
I think so.
Yeah?
I think so. I don't think Miss Jackson tallied those correctly. I'm just going to say HW won in our precinct of first grade.
Okay.
Like by a landslide. Again, because you have a bunch of 7-year-olds who are like, why would we not vote for the president?
Were you given enough information on Ross Perot and Bill Clinton?
I was not.
To make an informed opinion.
I was not. And again, I blame the first grade media for,
fake
newsing it, not giving Clinton or Perot either their just due. And it was all Bush. So, yeah, I've been dealing with this issue now for 30 years.
Wow. Haven't quite got over it.
No, I haven't. As you can see, I'm pretty fired up about this.
Is his school, by the way, like K through
6?
Okay. Yeah, there's some that are, K through 8 or K through 12. And I'm like, man, and I know they get parceled off into different parts of the campus, but I'm like, man, that's That's rough.
Well, the one I always found interesting is, so I did K through 6, middle school was 7-8, high school was 9-12.
Right.
Alexa, she did K through 6. Then in Davis, their middle school was 7 through 9, and then high school was 10 through 12.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so 3 and 3 as opposed to 2 and 4.
Yeah.
And I think Woodland, I remember. So I remember, yeah, it was in Woodland freshman year, because they were in the Delta League with us. We had to play middle schools because they were 10 through 12 as well. So they didn't have a freshman team.
Oh,
we would play their whatever the middle school 7 through 9 team and still lose.
Well, I guess in theory, and you could have a 7th grader on there if they were really good.
No, they did.
Yeah.
They had 3 years worth of players, and we were all freshmen.
Yeah.
They still beat us.
Well, what's weird about what's the right age or the age? I would say that's about it. 6th grade through about 9th grade is the biggest gap of growth in kids. Like girls grow sooner. You're going to have a guy that's like 6'2" and a guy that's 5 foot tall. And you just go, wait, they're the same age, same time. And you just, someone grew earlier and then, or someone that jumped to like 5'10" and stops.
Well, and isn't it interesting? I don't know if there was like certain schools that had always had big players versus certain schools always.
Right. Like, what do they do there?
Well, that was just it. What high school? I went to Florin. We were always the school that had all the short players.
Yeah.
And everyone always, it was always a joke. Like, what is in the water in that area versus you played like Yuba City. It was always these corn-fed white boys. None of them were under 6 feet. I'm like, why?
Right. And that's like even at freshman level.
Yes.
Like, what are we doing here? Yeah, I played freshman football, and I went into high school like 5'3", I don't know, 110 pounds.
Wow.
And you're playing freshman football. And there were some kids that were, nobody's that heavy at that time. But, I mean, still, they might be.
You were 5'3" your freshman year?
Uh-huh.
Wow. So when did your growth spurt hit? Because you're, 6'2"?
Yeah, a little over 6'2". Not quite 6'2". I'm in between. I mean, good
6'2"
days.
6'2 and a half, we'll say.
Yeah. Freshman and sophomore.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I grew a lot, like to the point where, of course, this didn't necessarily happen. Like, I would feel like I would wake up and I grew last night. Like, I just felt like I got taller.
Right.
And maybe it's over days and weeks, and you're like, you just feel taller. You're looking. Yeah, I grew a lot.
Dude, I was 5'4" when I was 12.
Wow.
I'm 5'7.5".
Yeah. So you would have been bigger than me if we were the same age, and then I would have shot past
and then you would have just shot past me. And that's how everybody did it.
Yeah.
I was at like 5'4" at 12. I was on the taller end.
Yeah, sure, at 12.
And then by the time I was 15, everybody was taller than me. I'm like, all right, don't worry, my growth spurt's coming.
Were you like the center at one point, and then you were the point guard?
Well, that was the thing. I never got moved back down to guard. I was like 5. I think I had finally gotten to around like 5'5", 5'6" by sophomore year. I was still playing center. Why do you do that?
Just getting buckets.
I was like Bo Outlaw. I just remember Bo Outlaw was like 6'7", playing center for the Clippers.
Hey, make it work, right? Know your skills. All right. Well, we are here. It is JayMarZZ. It is me, Jason Ross. Carmichael Dave is off today. He's back with us tomorrow. He'll be back in studio. Busy weekend. Lots of stuff going on besides camping, right? There was sports. Lots of sports. And guess what? We got Niners, Raiders, Kings, Giants, all in leading off. And it's next.
Check out the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa every week on Sactown Sports 1140. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people that play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. It's the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa. Thursday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturday morning from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Sactown Sports 1140. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility, and Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality, and Safe Credit Union. Let us put you first.
Near the banks of the Sacramento River, Perry Dye of the famous Dye family of golf architects designed Bartley Kavanaugh Golf Course as Sacramento's #1 course for fun. Dye's design and mixture of holes assures players of a fun-filled day with friends. Bartley Kavanaugh's moderately sized greens and generous fairway landing areas make for an affordable and fun round of golf. After golf, relax on the outdoor veranda with a cold beverage or a tasty meal. For tee times, visit BartleyKavanaugh.com. It's Sacramento's #1 course for fun.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep the facility running, no matter the weather or supply chain hiccup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo, and Maria in Miami, Jules in Minneapolis, and Stan in Central Indiana. taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with experienced branch staff at over 250 locations so you get the product you're looking for. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Let's do it. It's time for Leading Off. Brought to you by Lasher's Elk Grove Dodge, where for over 60 years, their name means a great deal in Elk Grove Auto Mall and online at elkgrovedodge.com. Here's cut number 1.
Trey Lance on 3rd and long, dropping back to pass. Stepping up in the pocket, throwing it deep downfield to Craig. He's got it to the 30, the 25 to 20, the 10 and touchdown. And the speedster, Danny Gray, welcome to the 49ers.
How about the throw?
I'm just saying.
Jimmy G wouldn't have done that.
Jimmy G would not have gotten that ball downfield.
Nope. He would have taken his time on a methodical drive and scored, but still.
We're being sarcastic, but also we're not. Jimmy G would not have made that throw.
No, he wouldn't have. And that's part of, I guess we're going a little over the top.
Yes.
True. But that's honestly is what they see in Trey Lance, the ability to get the ball downfield, the ability also to run an offense, keep it short, run, be effective, lead a team. I think he's got, let's put it this way, Jay, they think, and it is still to be proven yet, but they think he's got more tools in the toolbox.
I think he has more tools in the toolbox, and I don't think you can't question that. You can question whether or not, and again, because we don't have a sample size really, whether or not he's going to know how to properly use those tools, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so much to being a quarterback. So arm strength, it's better. I mean, if you watch him throw and you watch Jimmy G, I mean, it just literally, they could both be at the park and you go, boy, these guys both have good arms. So you go, that one's better, and that belongs to Trey Lance. He can move really well. He's still young. He's raw. But I think he's got an excellent coach that has groomed quarterbacks very well, so he's in good hands. He's got a good roster behind him. He's got a lot of pressure, though, too. Jay, this is a good team, and I'm not going to say he's screwing it up and could screw it up, but he could. But you just hope that he complements it and also has games where you go, the reason they won was because of him.
Yeah, and we always point to, and that's why you were talking about this last week, everyone always points to Jimmy G's record.
Yeah.
Look what Jimmy G's record is.
That's the best part of his resume.
And I've always said that is such that argument lacks so much context, because when you really go back and you look at it, I've always said, okay, tell me one thing Jimmy Garoppolo does great. Nothing. He does nothing great. But again, when you say win, how much of it is him versus the roster around him, the defense, the running game? Now we're looking at a guy like Trey Lance, where I think there's definitely going to be more on his shoulders when it comes to win-loss. And what I mean by that is, with Jimmy, I felt like he was just kind of a complementary piece to the bigger pieces around him, where they feel like Trey Lance is that guy that is going to be a much bigger piece from the quarterback position. And I think a lot of wins and losses will be dictated by his play this year.
Yeah, and I think when they got Jimmy G, it was at a perfect time. They didn't have a great quarterback. They needed help there. They got help there. He hit some of those other intangibles while the rest of the team got loaded and better.
Remember, when they traded for him, they had yet to have won a game that season.
Yeah. And
then he came in and won, it's like 5 or 6 straight. And I think there was a little bit of fool's gold there, and they signed him to the big extension. I thought we all saw Jimmy in that last half of that season, like, oh my God, this is the guy.
Yeah.
And then between injuries and as more teams could scheme towards him, you started to see what his flaws were, and he got really exposed in some of those areas. And that you saw Jimmy to me is an average, and when he's on, he's an above average quarterback in the league.
Yeah. And they're hoping that Trey Lance is on the above average all the time. Every week, even on a bad game, he ends up with a perfect passer rating for whatever that's worth on his brief stint last week on Saturday. But a win, but again, preseason, how do you look?
It doesn't matter.
You look good.
Yeah.
You look good.
And that's what you want. I equated a little bit to NBA Summer League. This isn't an apples to apples comparison, but if he would have been out there and was like 0 for 7, 1 for 8 with a pick or, a 4-yard completion, OMG, would people be coming out with pitchforks today?
Sure.
Right?
Right.
But again, it's preseason. No starters were playing, really.
Yes.
He was the only one. They sat, I think, pretty much
20,
everybody.
20 22.
So can we get much from this game? No. But like I said, it's much better to see him do that than what than have a Deshaun Watson-esque game, put it that way.
Yeah, we'll talk about him. And really week 1 of the preseason is now in the books. kind of some things to look at in a positive and a negative way. By the way, the Raiders also played and won. They're 2-0 for whatever that's worth, but they sat a bunch of guys as well. But
yeah, no Derek Carr.
2-0.
Yeah, but do we have a competition brewing for that number 2 spot
between Stidham and Nick Mullins?
Big pick Nick.
Yes,
good in third string action.
Yeah, and Stidham
7-9 with the TD.
Yeah, how about those Raiders? They could have a good year coming up too. All right, cut number 2.
Cut number 2.
Tied at 56. Merrill for the lead. He's got it! Oh my goodness. Sam Merrill has not come out of the game today. He's played 112 minutes in the last 70 hours. But he's got enough in the tank to bury that 3 for the Aggies. What a shot.
Yes, highlights of Sam Merrill. Sam Merrill, you may ask, who is Sam Merrill? He's a member of your Sacramento Kings. Kings keep signing players. They signed another one. He's from Utah State, played in the league a little bit. He's been with Milwaukee. He's been with Memphis. Jay, that makes 20 players on the Sacramento Kings roster now.
Which I believe is the training camp limit.
Yeah.
So we have 20 guys on the roster. You'll have 15 guys at the end of it, along with Keon Ellis and Nimi Keita, who are on 2-ways.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're looking at the roster, there's going to be 3 guys cut. I don't know who the 3 are. I have a pretty good idea, but there's a lot of people that they see sightings like this and they spend way too much time on it.
Right.
Way too much time on it. I will tell you this right now on August 15th, 2022 at 6:20 a.m. If in March or April we're talking about Sam Merrill getting minutes on the Kings, buddy, we're talking lottery also.
Most likely, unless it's a situation where he is one of the players on the team and they're blowing somebody out.
Yes.
But
again, we wouldn't really be talking about him in that
It'd
sense.
probably be why did they win by 30? How good was De'Aaron and Sabonis and Barnes and whoever the guys that are going to be playing the bulk of the minutes? But it feels like this offseason's been done a little bit differently, though, than others, where they continue to add players well after a lot of the movement was made, and they were aggressive early. I mean, the Kings sometimes, I remember, I think we had asked a question when the start of free agency was happening, like over under a half. I'm like, under. They never make a move on the first day, and boom, Malik Monk right out of the gates. Wow. So I feel like they've done things a little bit differently in the past,
for sure.
Probably for a good way.
Yeah, and then the Herter trade didn't happen too far after that. That was only a few days down the line. And then the rest of these spots, again, they're filling out a training camp roster.
Yeah.
3 of these guys that you've seen signed over the last several days, whether it's who's the kid from Davis?
Chime Omeki.
Yeah. Dellavedova, Quinn Cook, Sam Merrill. Again, these are competing for those last couple roster spot guys. These are not rotation guys.
Right.
So again, I see people online put way too much thought into this. Stop.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
This is more of a PSA for this segment.
Well, and we were going to do a little bit kind of that, is there legitimate competition? We'll dive into that later. I mean, are there spots that are these all solidified, or truly is there a competition battle going on? We'll get into that a little bit later. Let's close out leading off with cut 3.
Cut number 3.
Crow throws. Estrada drives one. Deep left center field. On its way. It is gone. He did it. A walk-off home run. Tyro Estrada wins it for the Giants. Up over the left center field wall. 8-7 the final.
Not the season the Giants had hoped for, but when you walk off, that's fun at home. Dave Fleming, the great Dave Fleming on the call. And yeah, beating the Pirates, a little sweeperoo, right?
Hey, anytime you sweep the Pirates, it's moral victory. That's what they always say. They come into town. It's on the weekend. You're celebrating your 2012 World Series team, 10 years. You want to have a good display regardless. Hey, they're back at 500, 57 and 57.
Okay.
I think they're out of playoff contention, if you ask me.
It was the wild card. I looked the other day. It's 6.
Yeah, I don't think you're getting back into that.
Yeah.
Not in the middle of August, especially with those teams that are above you.
Yeah, I mean, the 3 that are likely in or the 3 that are in now are Braves, Padres, Phillies, but you also have to leapfrog another team, the Brewers, that are above 500. And it's just, you start to get into too many teams. And the Giants are going to have to start going like 8-2 in the next 10 for several next 10 stretches here. There's about 6 weeks to go.
Yeah, and this team is just different from last year, especially at the deadline. essentially, would you even call them sellers at the deadline? I feel like they just did. Tinkered.
Yeah,
right?
I feel like they looked at all options and didn't really pick a path.
No,
of either way. So, still getting a walk off. That's still exciting. That's good for the Giants as they defeated the Pirates yesterday. All right, when we come back, you've got a situation here where you got franchise quarterbacks. You're trying to find them, right? Well, how about when you have one, you pay them? It's quite easy. Well, not the case with Baltimore and Lamar Jackson. We've got that when we come back.
You want more Kings coverage? Sactown Sports 1140 is giving it to you.
I like the Monk deal a lot. The Kevin Huerter one, you got control of a guy who, around the league, people still think he's a pretty good player.
Impressions, let's start with the Kings' top pick, Keegan Murray. What do you think of him? And you obviously knew him well at Iowa.
Yeah, I thought he was terrific. I called efficient and versatile. He's going to make shots. He's an elite jump shooter.
Log on to SactownSports.com for exclusive content. SactownSports.com.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by the San Diego Tourism Authority.
I'm Eileen Javor in the KCRA3 Weather Center. It's a beautiful morning. It's going to be a hot afternoon again. We're expecting temperatures around 103, 104 degrees. Tonight will be mild, overnight lows in the upper 60s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA3 News and the KCRA3 app.
When you're happy and you know it in San Diego, there's no limit to how you can show it. Endless sunshine, coastline, and outdoor adventures inspire waves of feel-good vibes. Plan your trip today at sandiego.org. That's sandiego.org.
Hey there, Jason Ross here for Quick Quack Car Wash. Now, keeping your life clean also means keeping your car clean. Now, a car, it's an extension of your life. And look, we spend so much time in our cars, things about between your work, your kids, family obligations. All of our lives are full of chaos. Well, for Quick Quack, it's like a life hack for me. That's how I defy expectations. With all the things I have going on, I still make it a part of my routine because I want to have a clean car. I want to have that second look when people drive by. And it's, for me, Quick Quack Car Wash is also about the experience, the vibe there. It's just a good time. I like to take my son. We go through with the music and the lights, and it's just a very good time out. Plus, when you go to a Quick Quack, you might see Quackles, and keep sending me those pictures on Twitter of Quackles. I love it. We will see you soon at a Quick Quack Car Wash. There are locations everywhere in all of Northern California, and we'll see you soon at a Quick Quack Car Wash near you.
Right, and the purchase markets are doing this thing and that thing. Shelby, as I always say, you're the captain of the ship that gets everybody through those waters. What's going on over at United Wholesale Lending?
We are heavily focused on purchase business right now.
This is the time of year, I know. You would think more people go and see houses, but how is that working as opposed to rates scaring people? Are we still seeing that huge influx of people going out there?
Well, there's some more inventory that's coming onto the market, and the market is shifting from a seller's market to a buyer's market. Even with the interest rates going up, now the market is kind of softening up and making it easier for home buyers to get their offer accepted and also to get a better deal.
You can pre-approve them on the phone in under 15 minutes without even running their credit. But what you also do is you give them the exact things they need to knock out personally so that they can get into homes.
That's exactly right. We create a roadmap to get them in the position to buy a house.
RefinanceWithShelby.com. That's RefinanceWithShelby.com. NMLS number 279051. BRA number 01864354.
Your local radio stations are here for you. No subscriptions or monthly fees necessary. We're here to give you the news, weather, and traffic you need and the music you love. But if the foreign-owned record labels get their way, it could stop the music. They want Congress to force radio stations to pay them more money simply to play their music. Don't let radio go silent. Text LOCAL to 52886 and tell Congress to protect local radio stations. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
You know they've been here for a combined 50 years. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross on Sactown Sports 1140.
Jason Ross, JayMarZZ here on this Monday morning. Carmichael Dave is back with us tomorrow. JayMarZZ was telling us about your high school days playing, and you talked about Yuba City just being massive, right?
Yeah,
big,
tall,
big athletes over there.
Tall, curly-haired Caucasians.
Let's see. From the 916, the Yuba City Honkers weren't good, at least when I was playing them during the 99-03. Played them all the time going to River City, but I asked if they were big. I didn't get a response.
Yeah, no, I didn't say they were good. They were just big.
Big young men.
Big.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Meanwhile, all of us under 5'7".
So I was telling you, Jay,
struggling to get bored
before we get into Lamar Jackson here. Did you say you played football ever?
No, I was basketball, baseball in high school.
So I played all three, but just the 1 year I played football. So
Freshman?
I was freshman, and I was tiny, as I told you. So, I worked my way up to second string running back, which was great. But the first stringer was our best player, so that meant I never played, and we were bad. We did have a game where we were winning, and we were going to win, and we were way ahead playing Costa Mesa down there in Orange County.
Great Costa Mesa.
The great Costa Mesa. And they call it the drive, right? Or at least I do. Two of my really good friends growing up in high school were also on the second string. So that we had the second string quarterback was my good friend Tim. My other, I went to middle school, high school, college with my really good friend Marty. He was the other running back. We were playing split back. So
nice.
Marty's to the left, I'm to the right, Tim's the quarterback, and it's a sweep to the right. But I at 5'3", I'm the lead blocker for Marty, who's maybe a solid 5'4", right? We're the second stringers.
You had more tenacity. That's why you were the lead blocker.
I wouldn't have put me in that. It's bad coaching. I wouldn't have put me in that position because if you saw me block, you're like, yeah, he's not really made for football. So, life's about choices. We're making the sweep. My job is to block the defensive end.
Sure.
He's coming off the end. I'm like, that's my guy to help get Marty the edge. Jay, that guy was big.
How big?
Well, a lot bigger than me.
Okay.
And so my choice was, okay, I'm running the corner. That guy looks big. It looks like he's going to tear me apart. So I decided to kind of just get into the line and just create a little more traffic in the line. I'm like,
smart.
I'm helping the right tackle. It looked like he was struggling a little bit.
The old running back audible.
Yeah. So plays designed, sweep right. I'm like, oh, that's big dude. I go there, and then I kind of turn around and I see Marty's cleats in the air.
Oh, did the big guy find Marty?
Oh, yeah.
Did his lead blocker maybe not make the best decision?
And Marty's dead. Yeah, no. I mean,
I was going to say, really?
Oh, man. He looked like he was.
Poor Marty.
Yeah.
So is this still a story to this day?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And so I got 2 career carries in high school. But as I say it, I averaged 15 yards a carry because both times I was face masked. Both times.
Nice.
So we had 15 yards. Of course, I had no official runs. But we moved down the field because I led with my face mask, allowed it to get tugged on. We got to the goal line, and the play was quarterback sneak for my buddy Tim. I'm like, good, he's going to get in the end zone, little goose of the center. Well, the right guard moved a little bit early, bumped into the quarterback. We fumbled, and we didn't score.
Golly gee.
I let us down there with bad blocking and creative face masking.
This is not the end of a Disney movie, friend.
No.
You had it.
We still won the game.
That's all that matters.
We won the game. Also, here's how that season went real quickly on this. I was the backup kicker and punter, which when we're bad.
Backup running back, backup kicker, backup
punter. A lot of backups. But when we're bad, we're punting all the time and kicking off once or twice a game. This is the game we're winning. And the punter, I forget where he wasn't there. He just didn't show up at this game. So I'm like, I get to punt today. Of course, we had one punting situation and we did the fake punt. So not to me, where I had to jump up, pretend like it was snapped over my head. We snapped it to, of course, our stud running back who ran for 17 yards. But I feel like it was my fake.
So you handed off.
I didn't even hand off. I jumped up like it was a bad snap and everybody's like misdirection. So
you sold that. That's totally how I choose it.
I mean, 2 face masks and a selling. We won't talk about my blocking ability, but sorry, Marty.
Yeah, Marty.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Maybe Marty should have cut better.
I mean, I would have got by that guy.
That's what I'm saying. Marty should have juked, spin moved, something.
I mean,
Marty, dude, be better.
Exactly.
You shouldn't need a lead blocker
all these years,
all the time.
I was holding this guilt, but be better.
Be better, Marty.
We solved it. Be like Lamar Jackson.
There you
just
go.
Be good. He's really good, Jay, and I don't understand this because when you
what are you talking about? He's a running back.
He shouldn't really be a quarterback. He should be a receiver or a defensive back.
Because he's fast and black, right? Jesus.
When you get a franchise quarterback, you've got him. You groom him. You highlight him. You put him out there on all your billboards and your season tickets. And then you know what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to pay him.
Yeah, especially when he's already won an MVP on a rookie contract.
So Is it that Baltimore doesn't believe in him? I don't care if you and I or the media in Baltimore or other, wasn't there a scout this year that said, like, yeah, I'm not so sure he's a quarterback. 5 years in or 4 years in.
Yeah, we're still doing that, which is hilarious.
What do they think? And the fact that they haven't paid him, I don't know if it's strictly money, which money is a factor, obviously. But they've got their guy, and he's expressing like, look, I'm not going to do this anymore once the season starts. So either we're going to get this solved here, or, I mean, he's going to play.
Right.
But, when the kind of the new talk started when Kyler Murray signed, it's like, okay, there's another reference point. I've done this, and this that he hasn't done. Where's my money? It just hasn't happened in Baltimore.
Yeah. And you talk about the reference points. So let's look at a couple of those. The Kyler Murray reference point. I think Lamar Jackson should be paid more than Kyler Murray. I don't really think I need to argue that one too much, right?
Right.
Here's where I think we're getting really interesting with this, because a lot of the contract details or what they're asking for haven't really been put out there. There's been a few things thrown out. I think Lamar Jackson wants Deshaun Watson money.
Okay.
I think Lamar Jackson has a great argument to get Deshaun Watson money.
Right.
Given that Deshaun Watson got a essentially fully guaranteed deal coming off of a year that he didn't play. Now, Lamar was hurt for a few games last year, but the entire Ravens team was beat up last year. Like, you cannot pin what happened to the Ravens last year on Lamar Jackson. The team was hurt. He had dealt with some injuries really for the first time in his career. But prior to that, the guy has carried that franchise with a lack of talent on offense. Outside of Mark Andrews, that's probably been his best offensive weapon the last 2 or 3 seasons. And he's won an MVP award already. We've already seen what he can do. Imagine, Jason, if he had, we like to play this game, put Lamar Jackson on San Francisco with Debo and George Kittle, the running game, Kyle Shanahan's creativity. I think Baltimore does not want to pay him. But also, I feel like Lamar Jackson is kind of in the driver's seat as far as negotiations go.
Yeah, and to me, it's, okay, if we try to do the contrary here, so why is Baltimore hesitant? Why are others maybe hesitant? There's one 3,000-yard passing season. I mean, Herbert and someone else went over 5,000 last year.
Right.
So he's only done one 3,000, and that was his MVP year, 3,100. Last 2 years, less than 2,900 yards. His interceptions.
Last year, we only played, 12 games?
He played 12 games and had his highest interception rate. The most touchdowns he's thrown in a year was his MVP year, 36. Then it's gone to 26. Then it's gone to 16. But I think one of his best stats is he's 37-12. And a big reason why they're 37-12, it's not just, hey, the rest of the team's getting it done for him. I mean, he's a huge piece to that puzzle.
He's the biggest piece.
Yeah, and so super athlete, cannon of an arm, runs a little bit more maybe than they would want. But again, I think that's where you start to coach differently and groom him differently. And my overall counterpoint, if I was Lamar Jackson's agent, I would say he's 25.
Mm-hmm.
If not Lamar, then who?
That's just it.
Like, we'll walk. We'll go somewhere. What are you going to do?
He's unrestricted at the end of this year.
Yeah.
He can go wherever he wants.
You're going to go, is it Huntley that's the backup?
Can they franchise tag him?
They could.
But what are you doing at that point? Are you just stalling?
Yeah.
You're not going to make him happy if you put the tag on him, number one. You're basically just stalling this for a year.
Is there any chance the Ravens are in that spot that some of the scouts and others say, like, okay, can we get closer to 2019 Lamar than 2021? Like, what if he has another year like 2021 and you just signed him to, boatloads of cash with all this guaranteed money?
Sure. And
buyer's remorse?
That's fair. But again, I point to 2021. Look at what happened to the Ravens last year. He got hurt. He was playing through injuries all year, number one. That team was unhealthy last year. They took so many L's on the injury standpoint. I feel like 2021 was more of an aberration than anything else.
Yeah.
I feel like 2019 and 2020 are more so like that's kind of the barometer if you're asking me. I think if that's how they're looking at it, that is a huge risk. And I'm not going to say flat out stupid because, again, I'm not a scout. I'm not in that front office. I'm not looking at the same things they are. We're looking at this from basically 10,000 feet. Your point is valid, though. If not him, then who?
Right.
Who are you bringing in?
Yeah. Like, again, I say it all the time. You're as good as your options. If they felt they had a great number two in the weight, like a little bit like Jimmy G has a lot of the stats that Lamar has,
Mhm.
but you have Trey Lance rating, and you traded to do it. You knew that's the succession plan. I don't know what's next in Baltimore.
No.
And I think what's next is Lamar Jackson or a complete departure of him. And are they really that close to that?
But if it's a complete departure of him, I think then are you drafting a quarterback? Are you rebuilding? What are you doing? Because right now you point to what has worked for them the last 3 or 4 years. It's Lamar Jackson. This is really different when we're talking about, win-losses from Jimmy G. I kind of pointed that out earlier in the show. Lamar Jackson, you can single-handedly say is responsible for probably a majority of those wins.
Yeah.
And not single-handedly, but the biggest part of those wins. Versus, to me, Jimmy Garoppolo was always a guy that fit into the 49ers and what they do. And if the running game was going, then great. If Jimmy G had time, great. If the defense is playing well, great. He can lead you with that stuff. But how many times can we look at Jimmy's win-loss record and be like, they won that game and he was the main factor why?
Right.
It's a handful, maybe.
Well, you and I were talking about this before the show, and like you said, we can't come up with someone off the top that was this much success as far as Pro Bowls and MVP and still 24. Lots of football left that's not getting signed at that position.
Yeah.
That's usually the one that, Lamar Jackson broke the record for quarterback pay just because he's the next one in line. It just hasn't happened. I can't think of an example.
I cannot think of one example of a guy in his first 4 years who has accomplished what Lamar Jackson has done and jumped ship to another team.
Right.
And I mean, this is a screw rookie
Not
deal.
via trade. Just
not via trade, but I mean, literally left the team in free agency.
Because they didn't want to sign him.
It's unprecedented.
Yeah. And it still may work out. There's a time and a timeline more so now, but one of the bizarre stories going on out there. All right, Friday was not a good day for Major League Baseball. You got a young superstar who's going to miss the rest of the season and a chunk of next season. Got the Fernando Tatis Jr. story coming up.
Breaking news, the latest happenings with your favorite teams.
Do you ever wonder about what the heck all these kids are doing on the computers all the time?
Stay up to date with all of it by following us on Instagram and Twitter.
Excuse me, gentlemen, a little update for you.
At Sactown 1140.
Test rules, visit khtk.com.
stimulating conversation about kitchen gadgets and baseball cards.
I think that's really crazy interesting.
It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross on Sactown Sports 1140.
Yeah, it's a good Monday. So much for us to get to today, which we appreciate. Lots of baseball. Certainly some NBA schedule leaks have gotten out there. I think schedule will be released later this week.
Shout out Schedule Nation.
And then the NFL, full swing. We got 1 week of the preseason in the books. If you're the Raiders, they play twice. Lots of things to cover still.
Are you one of those guys that gets excited for the NBA schedule release?
I am in this sense. It's different than I think the other people were. They're like, okay, win, loss. Like, it's really
I think that's the dumbest thing, first of all, is when you're trying to tack win losses at this point on a schedule based upon what the schedule looks like.
I'm going to give you a preview. I'm going to have the Kings at 77-5.
Nice.
The schedule.
That'd be really good.
I mean,
that would actually be a record.
Yeah, but they're going to lose their first and their last two, and we're going to be down on them.
And then they'll lose the first round.
No, for me, it's honestly when the schedule comes out, I like, what's the first game? That's always kind of in the home opener. Just trends like, oh, wow, that 6-game road trip looks brutal. But really more so for me, just having to work all the games, just kind of where's the map? Sure. What's going on? Ooh, I'm going to predict they're going to play at home the day after Christmas. It seems like they always do. Just what's around the holidays, just kind of more of a look at the schedule than anything else than that for me.
It was a point where it would come out, and the only thing I would care about is like, okay, are they playing on national TV? Now I could care less if they play on national TV. I cannot think, I do not care. Like, absolutely do not care about the NBA schedule coming out.
Yeah.
I feel no type of way towards it. MLB, I care a little bit because I always want to see if the Dodgers are playing in Oakland to get cheap tickets.
Yeah.
And when are they playing the Giants? That stuff I care about. And then football because it's different, the way the schedule is released. So, but with the NBA, it's just you kind of already know who the Kings are playing. It's just when are they playing them?
Yeah.
I don't care.
Right.
I don't care.
And then it'll be, even if you have an opinion of it when it comes out this week, it'll be different when this, in December you go, man, I didn't think that 3-game stretch was going to be that bad. Now it looks difficult because I didn't anticipate the Magic being so good or whoever the team that's surprising.
The context starts to come in once games actually begin to play. That's why, and that, to your point, is why I do not care.
Yeah.
Like, you can go through the schedule and be like, okay, win here, loss here, but that's based upon
what?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, granted, we look at a roster before the schedule comes out and we're like, okay, this is between 34 and 39 wins.
Yes.
That's we're just generalizing based upon the roster, not anyone else's rosters.
Sure.
I find it to be people that are like super amped for it. I'm like, you're weird.
Right. And then it's, the other part is, that game you probably most everybody would give them a loss. Hey, do you realize that Paul George, Kawhi, and 3 others are resting tonight?
Right.
Like we didn't when we factored the schedule. So anyway, that'll be out hopefully later this week. There's some schedule leaks. We'll go over that a little bit later. Friday, though, was this one caught me off guard. I have to say, we've been hearing and talking about the Padres a lot because of the deal to get Soto. Still a long ways back at the Dodgers because they're crazy hot. But, you get Soto, you've got Bob Melvin, you've got all these things going, Jay, and then it's like, hey, guess who's back going through some simulated games, who's in the minor leagues, who's probably a week or so away? Fernando Tatis Jr. And then, boom, the news on Friday, pinched, caught for substance abuse, and just went, whoa, 80 games for Tatis. Stunner.
What was his excuse again? It was one of those like really like I don't know what I ingested or something, and I'm like, dude, really?
I think what took me back the most is I just blanked on the Padres GM. Anyway, Preller, he was very outspoken, not in support per se. Like, we need him to grow up. We've signed him to it was like, wow. I mean, usually like that's
not the first time they've kind of hinted at that.
Right.
Though.
Which makes you wonder, okay, what else, we see all the fun of Tatis.
Sure.
I see the talent. It just jumps out the screen. What else is going on there? And again, I don't want to say they were fully not supportive, but they weren't going out of their way to support him.
It didn't sound like this was something where they believed the whole I don't know what I took thing, right?
Right.
And so you're starting to wonder, okay, is this PEDs and that's why he's just able to hit the way he is? Was he using PEDs to try to recover quicker from his injuries,
which is common.
Which is very common. We don't know, and it really is irrelevant in the sense of, dude, you got an 80-game suspension and you just put your team behind the 8 ball. You put a team and an ownership group who has just said, yo, back up the Brinks truck. We are going to pay whoever we need to pay. Between Machado, Juan Soto will obviously be getting a massive deal with them soon. Manny Machado had signed that massive deal. Some of the pitchers you've brought in, Blake Snell, Yu Darvish, you name it. They signed Musgrove to the $100 million contract. And now you get things like this. I can see why the organization is pissed.
Yes, I agree.
I can see 100% why they're like, dude, we are trying to do something here. And here you are, for whatever reason, you're taking the PEDs. And then you come out with a lame excuse. You put the team behind the 8 ball, a team with one of the higher payrolls in baseball.
Yeah, that's gone for it, that's willing, that thinks they've got multiple World Series in their future.
They are looking at contending in the World Series this year based upon him returning, right?
Yes, yeah.
I look at him as like that was the missing piece of that lineup. You bring in Soto, with Machado and all those guys in that lineup, this was the missing piece. Once they get Tatis back in that lineup, man, that is game-changing.
Yeah.
And now it's not happening.
Here's Bob Melvin kind of having to talk as a spokesperson, really, for the team.
It stunned everybody, but, it was better than finding out during the game and then having that go out through the dugout. So, AJ made the right call, even though we found out late, to talk to the team right before we went on the field.
Apparently, a lot of the team thought that when AJ Preller, like everybody from the organization, was coming in to address the team before the game on Friday, that, for lack of a better term, like something far more serious. Not that this is trivial, but like that somebody had died or something. They were really concerned.
Yeah, GMs don't normally just walk in during the middle of the season to address the team.
Yeah, so they had that. Here's more Bob Melvin on Tatis.
Obviously, he feels remorseful. It's about as far as I'll go, but just wanted to check in with him.
Yeah, it felt like a lot of people, even that first night, there was a couple players, Clevenger, a few that were outspoken saying, I'm going to kind of wait to like they were just disappointed. And when you've got dreams of kind of your point, Jay, like he might be the extra piece. Yeah, they're not going to catch the Dodgers, but if you get in the tournament, you get in the wild card, they can run through this thing.
Absolutely.
And maybe they'll play their best baseball in 6 weeks from now. It just felt like everybody was disappointed in him. And it almost like, instead of shocking, it's like another thing from him. I feels like there's stuff that's gone on with him.
No, there really is. And it just felt like, I think what we're looking at is it deflated that clubhouse. Yes. And this would be the second straight year that clubhouse has been deflated. And we've seen issues with this team. Was it last season that we saw Machado and Tatis get into it in the dugout?
Yeah.
So again, to your point, there's been issues there. This ain't going to help them. And as great as Fernando Tatis Jr. is, as exciting as he is, they are correct. He needs to grow up because that stuff, I feel like more so in baseball when you have clubhouse issues, and I feel like this is a big reason Bob Melvin was brought into this team, was to fix the clubhouse issues, because by all stretches last year, that's what it seemed to derail this team. Last year, this team had World Series aspirations when the season started. It was, remember when the season started last year, it was all LA, San Diego, LA, San Diego. And then the Giants came out of nowhere. The Padres faded. They had clubhouse issues. I feel like this is the clubhouse issue starting to percolate again.
Yeah, just under the surface, and now they are because of a high-profile player.
The high-profile player. This is the guy. This is the face of the franchise, Jason. This isn't one of your okay, he's one of our top 5 players. This is your franchise guy. This is a guy I think MLB is relying on to really be a resurgence as far as, individual players and marketing and stardom again. He has every single attribute, but then this happens.
Based on the reactions from everybody from the Padres, I know Melvin even addressed it later, saying he was glad they made the moves at the deadline that they did. They all sounded surprised. I think this caught him off guard. I think the moves they made at the deadline were to add to the team as well as Tatis. This wasn't a precursor knowing that this was coming down to Tatis.
Oh, no, not at all. I think they had the idea that, look, we're going to get Fernando back in a few weeks. And then once we have that middle of the lineup, and just think about that, especially against left-handed pitching, or excuse me, no, because Soto's lefty. But point being still is
you can hit anybody.
But, and that's the thing, you could stagger that lineup. You can go Tatis, Soto, Machado.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a pitching nightmare.
Yep.
And I think they were relying on that. And I think, to your point, they were just looking, hey, let's just get in the postseason. We're not catching the Dodgers. But let's just get there.
Yeah.
We have the guns.
And then will be a problem.
And how many times have we seen it? I mean, and we're going to talk about the 2012 Giants here today.
Yeah.
Of once a team just gets into the playoffs.
Right. And then they could be lethal.
The regular season doesn't matter at that point.
Yeah. Well, we got a little more baseball to get to, as baseball's got, about a month and a half to go. Several storylines that still need to be followed as the final 6 weeks wind down through the finish line. We have those next.
You ask for more 49ers coverage, and Sactown Sports 1140 listen.
Let's go, Niner gang!
Get all the latest 49ers news and notes online at SactownSports.com. Plus, make sure to follow us on IG at Sactown1140 for Emil Fergoso's live postgame show following every game.
That is what we expect out of the Niner gang. Niners win!
Your home for the most 49ers coverage in Sacramento. Sactown Sports 1140. KHTK AM and HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios,
Sactown Sports 1140, the flagship station of your Sacramento Kings. It's the Carmichael Dave Show.
He's on the microphone when he's not on the microphone. He's playing a song, and when he's not playing a song, he's on the microphone, and then boom.
With Jason Ross.
Jay, hey, my headset's
Text or call the show at 916-339-1140.
It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross
on Sactown Sports 1140.
Crow throws. Estrada drives one. Deep left center field. On its way. It is gone. He did it. A walk-off home run. Tyro Estrada wins it for the Giants. Up over the left center field wall. 8-7 the final.
That was yesterday in San Francisco. A sweep for the Giants, taking out the Pirates. Put a walk-off win. That's always exciting. They are 8 miles behind the Dodgers still.
8 miles?
Yes. Officially, I don't even know what they are officially back. What is it? 22.5.
That's all?
Wow. Padres are 16 back.
Not mathematically eliminated.
Not yet. Not yet. The Dodgers did win, by the way, 79-34. They lost. They won all weekend. They lost yesterday. The win streak ended at 12, I think.
$1 million.
Yeah.
At the hands of those nasty Kansas City Royals.
Yeah.
You just knew coming in. It's like, all right, they've had everyone else's number this year, but those pesky Royals.
Well, with baseball, Jay, coming down to the final 6 weeks, I know they're your team.
Yes.
How confident are you that they can break baseball's record? This is something that hasn't been talked about that much. The record for most wins in a season is 116. Dodgers are at 79-34. Let's do a little math here. They have 49 games to go. So to tie the record, they have to go 37-12. That's sounds pretty crazy, but let's do the last 49 for the Dodgers, where they have to go 37-12 to tie the record. They've just went 39-10 in the last 49.
I think they just miss it.
Probably. At some point they're also not going to be like last year. They were running through the tape trying to beat the Giants. Oh, by the way, their 106 last year was a franchise record.
Yeah, and I think they might eclipse the franchise record.
They should.
But, those last couple weeks and maybe in the entire month of September, the gas is going to come off a little bit.
Maybe, but they're going to try to probably get some of that pitching that's been out ramped up, I would say. So you're still probably going to get some quality starts. Now, you may rest, Turner and Betts and different guys at different times, but also, Turner's resting. There's Freeman, and Freeman's resting. There's Smith. They have so much talent.
And again, it's the middle of August when you're this many up. Again, I think mentally, whether guys want to admit it or not, that you let off the gas a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't see them getting to 116. Okay. I think maybe 110, 108 to 110.
An amazing season.
It is an amazing season. It's all irrelevant if they don't win the World Series.
True.
And we are at that point with the Dodgers. And, probably a couple other teams. The Yankees probably fit this bill too. If you don't win the World Series, it doesn't matter. It is all, the Dodgers could have won 120 games, right?
Yeah.
Blow past that record. You lose in the World Series, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's irrelevant.
It is completely irrelevant. Yeah. So I've been paying attention to this, but I haven't been getting caught up in it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think if we're a month from now and the Dodgers are X amount of games away from it, I think it becomes more interesting.
For sure.
That's why you need to do the season in its totality. My team is the Yankees. They went to the All-Star break with people talking about them breaking the record. I think I saw yesterday after their loss, I think since the break, they're like 27th out of the teams.
They haven't been good since the break.
And now the Dodgers are better than them. The Astros are better than them. The Mets are better. They're the fourth best record. And who else is on their heels? The Braves.
Joey Gallo hit a home run yesterday.
Couldn't do it for the Yankees.
Couldn't, but
or didn't do it.
The
enough.
Funny thing is,
he's still batting like 110 though.
Well, the thing is, that's why I was gonna laugh. Is like him and Bellinger went back to back, and I think if you were to probably average the two of them, it's under 200.
Yeah,
or close to it.
I would say close to it. Yeah. But there's a few things to watch. So with that, whether that obviously up here to Giants fans, they're like, actually Giants fans in a weird way, and Giants fans you could text in or on our YouTube say, I think they'd be willing to give you guys the most wins record if you could parlay that into a postseason failure.
100%.
They would love that.
100%. 100%. And you know what? Vice versa, if it were the other way around.
Yeah.
Again, as much as the record is something to celebrate, it doesn't matter if you don't win the World Series. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't care in any sport. When the Warriors, how many did they end up finishing that year? When they set the record?
73, right?
73.
Yeah. And they were up 3-1.
And up 3-1. Does anybody ever talk about them winning 73 games, or do we talk about them blowing a 3-1 lead to the Cavs?
You just need to complete the deal. The Bulls did with 72 and a championship.
Yep.
73 and a championship. We would have been talking about the Warriors as the greatest team of all time.
They would have been, but they're not. I still think that 96 Bulls team is the greatest team of all time, just because, like you said, they had the 72 and they won the title.
Yeah. So Dodgers need to back that up. They're so talented. They obviously are good enough to do it. Other things to watch in baseball that are still make the last 6 weeks interesting. At least this one for me is something every time he comes to the plate, I stop what I'm doing.
Swung on there, it goes deep left center field. It is high, it is far, it has gone out of the ballpark. Over the high wall, over the monster seats, out onto Lansdowne. There is his 100th RBI on his 46th home run. Aaron Judge, a Judgian blast on Lansdowne. All rise. Here comes the Judge.
A Judgian blast. Is Judgian a word?
He made it one.
Okay, that's fair.
46 home runs. He's 12 ahead of Schwarber. So, I mean, that's just the kind of year he's had. To me, unanimous MVP, correct? Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
is there
Shohei,
anyone in? Shohei is.
It's just because of what he's doing but they're not winning.
They're not. And again, as much as Shohei is great, what Judge is doing at the plate this year is just
he's having a special year.
Ungodly, man.
I mean, he's getting into the territory. He's at 46. He's got to keep staying hot. What he could do is set the Yankee record, and I think that's what's most likely. I don't think he's catching Bonds, but there's only a handful of people that have ever hit 60 or more, and I think he'll get to 60.
Maris, Mantle,
that have done over 60.
Yeah.
I think it's literally Maris, Mantle, Bonds, Sosa, McGuire. Now, Bonds,
I meant for the Yankees.
Oh,
just Maris and Mantle,
that's
right?
it. Yeah, so 61 is a pretty big number if he can go past that.
It's interesting because I agree. If setting the Yankee record is did Ruth get to 60? No, right?
He was 60.
60.
Oh, and Mantle didn't. Sorry, it was Ruth at 60.
Okay. I can't remember because I know that year in 61 it was Maris and Mantle were vying for it at the time. Yeah, I think I still look at that as such a benchmark, even though obviously McGuire passed it, Sosa passed it, Bonds passed it, but that 61 is still such a special number. And I think if he can get past that, and I think right now, is he on track to do it?
Yes.
Okay.
He's on, I think, for about 65.
If he hits 65 home runs, I'm not going to anoint him the home run king,
Mm-hmm.
but we have no inclination that Aaron Judge is taking PEDs, right?
Right.
Although anytime a guy hits bombs like this, that's obviously going to come up. Until that's a thing, though, to me, that's pretty. It's more special to me.
Well, and it's also not the outlier. Like Bonds, remember, never had like a 40. Never had a 40 home run season, then goes to 73 or something, or never had I know he never. It
was
had a 50.
Never 50. I think he had maybe 140 home run season.
I mean, that was just a huge jump. You start to look at, Bonds goes 73, McGuire hits 70, 65, Sosa hit 63, 64, and 66. So I mean, he's done it 3 times. Also, I would say, Judge's rookie year at 52.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not like and then his only other, like, pretty lengthy season of playing a lot of games, because he's had some injury-filled seasons, he had 39. So, I mean, the guy's a home run hitter.
Yes.
Small park, takes advantage of the right field. But if he can get into that, mid-50s to upper 50s to low 60s, that's pretty spectacular.
Yeah, I think, what would you say is the benchmark for home runs now? To me, it was always like, man, if you're a home run hitter, you're hitting 30+.
Yeah.
And then it kind of got to 40+. Now I feel like it's still 40+. If you hit 40+ home runs, that's amazing.
I got the list of people that have hit 50.
Okay.
I won't go through everybody, but Brady Anderson's one of the most random at 50. Let's see who. Andrew Jones at 51.
That's
Willie Mays 52. Chris Davis from the Orioles at 53.
Yeah, Chris Davis is a very interesting case just because how quickly he fell off of a cliff.
Yeah, Joey Bats, Jose Bautista at 54.
I think we know Joey Bats was juicy.
That's an outlier. Now, Griffey had that stretch, 56, back-to-back years. Ryan Howard had a 58.
I remember that year where he was just, Ryan Howard had that quick stint where he was just maybe he might have been the most feared hitter in baseball for a couple of years.
And then you go Stanton 59, Ruth 59, Ruth 60, Maris 61, there's Sosa 63, Sosa 64, McGuire 65, Sosa 66, McGuire 70, and then Bonds 73.
It's an elite class.
It is. I mean, there's some others in there, but
the guys you mentioned, who's not in the Hall of Fame? Andrew Jones. Maris never made it in, right?
Who?
Did Maris make the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I think he's in the Hall of Fame. He got, I think, Brady Anderson.
Brady Anderson's not.
Prince Fielder's not.
No.
Greg Vaughn's not. Cecil Fielder's not. Let's see. I don't know.
Okay, so it's not as an elite class as I thought it was.
Yeah, but it's still, I mean, it's a spectacular year. It just hasn't happened that often
For
in
sure.
baseball. Also yesterday, it's something else I've been keeping track of because I just a fan of him. And, there's certain numbers he's trying to get to, but Albert Pujols went deep 2 more times yesterday. And so he's getting closer to Alex Rodriguez. I don't think he's going to get to 700, but Pujols.
What's A-Rod at 696?
Yeah, let me double check these guys on their all-time home run leads. But I think Pujols needed 20 or 21 coming in, and he hit his 9th and 10th yesterday.
Yeah, no, and here's the thing. If he's facing left-handed pitching, he is their guy. It's just going to come down to, for me, how many at-bats is he going to get the rest of the year?
Yeah, Pujols is at 689 now, and A-Rod's at 696.
Okay, so he needs 7 to tie, 8 to break.
Yeah.
It's possible.
And then 11 to get to the magic mark of 700. I don't think he would get 11. He's done 10 for this part of the season.
Right.
So he has to get 11 in 6 weeks.
He would have to get hot.
Yeah.
And because, again, he's only batting against left-handed pitching, I think that makes it a lot harder to get on a hot streak when you're not playing every day. I hope he at least gets to A-Rod's number.
Yeah, and it could be a position we talk about people sitting, but like if the Cardinals clinch a spot with a couple weeks to go in some order,
that's
maybe
going to be
I don't know that they will because they're in the fight, but if they did, then maybe you play Albert just as a salute, like, hey, we're playing you the last 2 weeks.
I'll say this. If you clinch, DH him and lead him off every game.
Yeah, get him as many ABs as possible, especially if he can get it at home.
Mm-hmm.
Or tie A-Rod or pass A-Rod or even get to 700, that'd be pretty sweet.
700 would just be storybook.
Yeah.
A-Rod, at least tying A-Rod, I think would be awesome. But yeah, if he gets to 700, it's storybook.
Yeah, I mean, because then you're just looking at Bonds, Aaron, and Ruth above him. That's incredible.
Yeah.
What a career for Albert Pujols. All right, we've got 3 questions. We've got 3 answers. It's all coming up in 3 for next.
The start of the NFL season is upon us, and Sactown Sports 1140 has all your coverage.
Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, and of course, all the NFL action every Sunday.
Your home for the NFL all season long. Sactown Sports 1140.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave from my good friend Shelby at United Wholesale Lending. Shelby, Peter, the whole team over there at refinanceWithShelby.com, making it happen. Listen, local lender, a reputation to uphold. With other banks, you're just a number. Why would you possibly want to purchase or refinance from someplace in Southern California or Florida or Texas or Ohio? Why don't you try purchasing or refinancing with local folks that live amongst us, that worry about word of mouth, that know the title companies, that know the appraisers, and if you're trying to purchase, that know the realtors? So when realtors are looking at multiple offers, they say, you know what? I've worked with Shelby before a bunch of times, and I know if you got a pre-approval from him, your deal is going through. They can close a purchase loan in 17 days. That's speed on your side with a local lender. You can compete with cash offers. RefinanceWithShelby.com. NMLS number 279051. BRE number 0186434.
3 questions, 3 answers. It's 3 for Madness on the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. Question 1.
That's right. It's time for 3 for Madness. 3 questions, 3 answers. Jason Ross, JayMarZZ, Carmichael Dave is back with us tomorrow. JayMarZZ, what do you have for us today?
The Giants celebrated their 2012 World Series win over the weekend. Was that the best of their 3 postseason runs that led to a title in the 2010s?
Yeah, so they won in 2010, 2012, 2014, that even year thing that was a thing for a while.
So stupid.
So it was 10 years from that group. They couldn't do the 2010 because of COVID. Different things happened there, and hopefully they're going to do 1 and 2 more years for the 2014 group. I think it is, and here's why. If you remember that run that year, in the first round, they had to beat the Reds, and they were down 2-0.
That was 2012?
Yeah, and came back. Let me double check that. Yep, they were down 2-0 and won the next 3. In the NLCS, they were down 3-1 to the Cardinals and came back and won the next 3.
I remember.
The oddity, the World Series wasn't as dramatic. They swept the Tigers, but that was a really weird sweep. It was like they faced Verlander in the first game, and that's the game Pablo hit 3 home runs. It was just a bizarre, and they swept them. It was such a great run. Coming from behind in those 2 series. The other years, I mean, hey, when you win a World Series, they're all great.
Yeah.
But I think that is their best postseason run. May have been their most complete team, even though they had some years where you go, I don't even know if they were that good, and then they win the whole thing.
I think you make a great argument for that. The only reason I would go with the 2010 team,
the first time,
it's the first time, and I feel like they just had a few more characters on that team than 2012 and 2014. Again, you had a lot of the staple guys.
Texas, right?
They beat the Rangers, and then they beat the Phillies
and the Braves,
the Phillies and the Braves. And that Philly, I thought the Phillies were and everyone thought the Phillies were just going to run through them. And don't forget, that team clinched the playoffs on the last day of the season against San Diego. And I want to say, I remember Dave Roberts coincidentally being on that Padres team. Not that that's relevant or anything. But that was the year, of Brian Wilson and all of his antics, because by 2012, he had been hurt that year. I don't even know if he was the full-time closer at that point. But 2010, I remember it was Brian Wilson, and then just some of the oddballs you had on that team, like Cody Ross, goes to San Francisco and is just like on fire.
Yeah, he found it. Right.
Pat Burrell having Pat the Bat and the whole jockstrap thing. And the team had Aubrey Huff, but the 2012 team did too, I think.
Yeah, and then the only nod tip of the cap I would say to 2014 was the World Series went 7, and Mad Bum was pretty.
That was
incredible.
The big thing.
But I think that was the one that went. Yeah, that went in wild card with the Pirates first and then through. But
2012 wild card. I know 2010 they won the division on the last day. That wasn't wild card.
No, 2012 was.
So 2014 was wild card.
Yeah, division series. Yeah.
And then was 2014 the year that Ishikawa hits the freaking home run into the bay?
I believe so.
That was so. I remember 2014. Just like you knew by the NLCS they were winning the World Series just because stupid things like that were happening.
Yeah.
It was just that dumb luck that all 3 Giants teams seem to have.
Yeah, wild card game. They beat the Pirates. This is 2014.
Mm-hmm.
They beat the Nats in 4, 3-1. Beat the Cardinals 4 games to 1, and then went 7, but beat
with the Royals.
Yeah,
that Royals bullpen was nasty.
Yes, it was.
Can we say this about all 3 World Series teams? It's better to be lucky than good.
Yeah, and I think they found it all 3 years.
Dumb luck, man.
Yeah, I mean, and that's part of it. It generally happens more in football, like a one game out, not in a series like this, but to their credit, they did it 3 times somehow, some way.
Again, I think there was a lot of dumb luck with all 3 teams. And I'm not saying that in a negative way.
Right.
Trust me.
As pitching found the right time, but some random hitters would get some big hits.
That's my point. Yeah. And as a Dodger fan, trust me, I would rather be lucky than good.
Yes.
Because the Dodgers have been a great team for over a decade. They have 1 World Series to show for it.
Yeah, a couple of World Series heartaches, several World Series heartaches. All right, question 2.
Question 2.
Is MLB's drug suspension too harsh, not harsh enough, or just about right?
Well, I'm definitely not going not harsh enough. I think it's...
Really?
Yeah. Well, here's my stance on this, and I will say it's different now, and I think we are allowed to change opinions. Jay, when, the reason Bonds, McGuire, Clemens, Sosa, Palmeiro, guys that are Hall of Famers aren't in is because of allegations and some confirmations of PEDs. I think that's so hypocritical of the league. You have managers that put those guys in the lineups that earned so they're not judged. It's not measured the same way. A lot of these are allegations. Again, I'm going to go, yes, they all did. Okay. But I know there's people in the Hall of Fame that did that are clear, that got in. So we're judging things differently. And some of it wasn't illegal. Like specifically some of the stuff McGuire was doing at the time
was not.
And so now he's getting punished.
When did PED, anabolic steroids, more specifically, they didn't become illegal till the early 90s, right? Federally?
Right. Federally. And then even in the game, there were specific things like, what was it? Androstenedione or whatever that was not on the banned list that McGuire was taking.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other part, and I don't know, I'll admit I'm not smart enough to know. Let's assume every single baseball player is that making them hit the home run? Like, I don't know. Is Barry Bonds upper decker now going to go 410 instead of 430? Like, I just don't know how you quantify it. And for the league and the sport to highlight all these players when they were doing this, chicks dig the long ball, every game we're stopping to watch this, and then, oh, no, you're not. No. Wait, what's the home run record, though? Bonds has it, but we're not acknowledging it. I just think it's a weird contradiction. But now where they've stated, here's what we're going to say. If you were caught, you get 80 games. The second time, it's 162. A third, you're gone. I think that's really harsh, to be honest.
I think it is really harsh, but also really necessary.
Okay.
Because, again, you don't want it, right? You don't want... We saw the PED issue by the mid-2000s, to me, as much as we talk about baseball not adapting or not marketing its stars, right? I felt like in the mid-2000s, the PED scandal destroyed baseball. I think it really turned a lot of people off. I thought that, you know, when you would turn on SportsCenter or you would turn on Baseball Tonight when that was still a thing on ESPN, that's all you heard about. And personally, it turned me off the baseball for a while. It really did. And I think it turned a lot of people off, and I don't think a lot of people came back.
Yeah.
So they recognize that we cannot let this get out of hand again, because it got out of hand. It got completely out of hand. And so you have to keep the punishments harsh if you don't want it overtaking the game again.
Right. And I guess here's where I'm trying to parcel out the difference, because I think we all, and I'm guilty of this, jump to the assumption that they're doing this to hit home runs.
For sure.
Power. When there are players, as we alluded to earlier, and I think, and I don't know, I'm speaking for Tatis, not knowing the situation, but he was injured. And a lot of times we're hearing some guys are doing this to speed up recovery.
Right.
In just that premise, I think that makes a lot of sense.
For sure.
So is there a way to, I don't know how you prove the difference, or there's some things that could get approved that, like, look, this is going to help a journeyman player that needs to keep their job and needs to keep making this amount of money to get back out on the field versus, hey, this guy's a stud that's going to hit 30 home runs. He's taking this because he now believes he's going to hit 50 and get into a different stratosphere. Those don't seem like the same things to me.
They're not the same things, but it's impossible to police that way.
I
You know
agree
what I
with that.
mean?
I don't know how you
Because,
do the difference.
Again, you can't. There's no world where you can argue for the journeyman guy versus the star. Like, there's no world where that's a thing. The other side of that, too, is using it for injury. Like, okay, that makes sense just on that surface level, right? If I inject this steroid into my system, it will make the injury recover quicker. I can get on. I totally get it. But what else is it doing?
Yeah.
I'm sure it is fixing your injury, but is it also going to help, at the plate?
Yeah. Terrible analogy here, Jay, but it's driving at 0.8. That's illegal.
Yep.
And you could do the same damage of 1 point whatever, driving 120 and blasting through stop signs. I mean, that's reckless, but the crime's the same.
Right.
And those feel different to me too. But again, if you're on the wrong end of that, it's, someone's life was lost.
For sure. But I definitely agree with you. And the other thing you were saying, though, about it's like, okay, how are we recognizing Barry Bonds with 73 home runs, but hey, he can't go in the Hall of Fame?
Right.
I think it's stupid. I think it's hypocritical.
Yeah.
I've said this about Pete Rose. I think there is a world where you can induct Pete Rose into the Hall of Fame without letting him back into baseball.
Absolutely. I mean, he's not getting in now, but
he's not. But, and I think he will posthumously.
Yeah,
if I'm saying that word
which
correctly.
is terrible, but
it is what it is.
So it's okay then. Like, you just punished him all the way through his life.
You punished him all the way. I think it's more so you just don't want to give him an open mic in that scenario either.
Right.
We've already seen what Pete does with an open mic at 81 years old.
Yeah.
But yeah, baseball. It's of all three sport. I was going to say baseball is the most hypocritical, although I think the NFL has a great case so as well.
It does. All right, let's get to question 3 here.
Question 3.
Oh, most important question we're going to ask all day. It's National Relaxation Day. Congrats to everyone celebrating. What is the best way for you to relax, Jason Ross?
Relaxing is a different type of thing, I think, for a lot of people. Like, sometimes it's like, okay, I'm just putting my feet up, vegging out and watching TV. That can be relaxing for people. If I think of like different forms of relaxation, there's something about trying to think of the way to put this, like a rhythm to things, even if it's like a task. But if it's like I got to sort this paper and I'm just doing like, I don't know, there's like a rhythm, like I'm okay. It's not I'm not working hard. It's just I get into a nice rhythm. To me, honestly, anytime by a body of water, a pool, a lake, a ocean, with that sound in the background, it could be hectic and mayhem around me, but I'm in my relaxed mode. Right.
I am a beach bum in that way as well. Put me in front of the ocean, San Diego. I am so chill. But if it's like at home, the only way I can really relax is if I've exerted myself in some way, whether that's physically doing stuff around the house, doing stuff outside. If I worked out really hard, during the day or in the early evening or something.
But then are you going to fall asleep?
No. What I'm going to do is go home. I'm going to get inside. I'm going to take a nice shower.
Yeah.
Throw on a comfortable pair of shorts and a tank top. That is and just kind of veg out on the couch.
Yeah.
That I'm in peak relaxation mode at that point.
It's so funny that you say that. There's something about changing your clothes to whatever your comfortable outfit is that does it too.
Yeah,
I'm wearing shorts now. These are comfortable, but I could go home and put on like basketball shorts.
That's
and
it.
More comfortable.
It's
I'm like,
different.
I don't know what it is. And a t-shirt. I mean, again, I'm not dressed up.
Especially after a shower, putting that stuff on, it's peak comfortable.
Socks off, shoes off. You're like, I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
Absolutely comfortable.
It's just different. It hits differently. That's how I relax.
I hope everybody relaxes today. It's on a Monday too.
Yeah, which makes me think that not everyone's going to be able to relax today.
Yeah, people are on edge a little bit on Mondays. All right, we'll try to get you off the edge, but get you excited because the preseason is here. Remember every practice for Trey Lance? Oh, he was 4 of 9 with 2 picks, a tipped ball, 2 he threw away. Well, we got to see him go against another team, and he was really good. Perfect passer rating. We'll talk about the 49ers preseason debut and Trey Lance when we come back.
Sactown Sports 1140 is your home of the Las Vegas Raiders for the 2022 NFL season.
Tune your dial to 1140 for all Raiders games.
Plus, you can listen online at SactownSports.com and on the Sactown Sports 1140 app.
Carmichael Dave here from my good friends at American Energy. Listen, if you're getting a high quote about replacing your HVAC system or you feel it's the time to replace the system, contact American Energy, your second opinion partner. They're currently offering a $2,500 rebate with 0%, 0 down financing options. That's the best deal out there for new HVAC equipment. 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Everyone loves to be outside, and so do mosquitoes. Protect yourself against mosquitoes and West Nile virus by following these simple tips. At least once a week, look around your yard and drain stagnant water from any containers where mosquitoes can breed. Remember to use an effective mosquito repellent, especially at dawn and dusk when mosquitoes are most active. Close all doors and be sure screens are in good working condition. At the Mosquito and Vector Control District, we're here to help. Visit us at fightthebite.net.
Did you get the Clement Horizon clean last night? I don't want another barnacle incident. Where's Ivan?
Kiki's head of docking operations just jumped ship.
What do you mean he's sailing around the world?
She needs a new marina manager to help keep her head above water.
Yeah, the tide's perfect, but we are slammed.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, I'm Flo from Progressive. Being a baseball fanatic like me can be stressful. It's not all sports points and touchdowns. So Progressive is going to help you take your mind off your team for a moment. Instead of thinking about how they missed that goal point score, think about the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, letting you choose coverage options based on your budget, unlike your team that missed the end zone net area. Well, anyway, hope this distraction about Progressive's Name Your Price tool was helpful. It sure kept me from thinking about all those penalty balls. Yay, sports!
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Billy Currington is coming back to SAC with Jiffy Lube's Country in the Park too. And he's bringing some friends, Russell Dickerson. And more. September 24th at Heart Health Park in Cal Expo. Tickets start at just $35 or upgrade your experience to the All Access Pass for $100. Country in the Park 2, Saturday, September 24th at Heart Health Park in Cal Expo. Brought to you by Lasher's Outgrove Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Tickets and details at SactownSports.com.
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. Text or call the show at 916-339-1140 on Sactown Sports 1140.
Always appreciate you following us here on Sactown Sports 1140 on our YouTube. Certainly in the text line, as you heard there, people referencing the 2014 Giants win, the 17-inning game against the Nats where Belt crushed the game winner. That was good. They had a lot of those kind of late game dramatics in all three of those World Series runs. So good for them. Jay, we're going to get into the Niners here in a moment. You were telling me during the break, what are those temperatures? That's here? The next 3 days?
It's going to be 104, 107, 106 on Wednesday.
Okay,
yuck.
Of the three on the show, I'm the one that least is bothered by the heat. That's hot. I mean, I'm not saying like, oh, it's fine. No, that's really warm.
It's gross.
Yeah.
Don't in me.
I prefer the heat than the cold. I do, but
that's not the
But
question.
I'm also
at
not
hand.
saying I want it to be 30, and I don't want it to be 107. But I like to be back where we talked about the last segment, by the pool, by the ocean, by the water. It's still hot when you're in there if the sun's directly on you, but it feels good if you're in the water.
Not all of us have that luxury.
You have a pool at your place?
I do, but it's a little different. It's a community pool. You have your own pool to soak in. I know. I don't know who's peeing in it.
You are.
I don't pee in the pool, sir.
Yeah.
We're so random talking about peeing in the pool. We were having this conversation yesterday, me and Alexa. And I'm like, how many adults do you think at those Vegas pool parties that are drunk that just let it loose?
I don't even think they have to be drunk. I think a lot of people do all the time.
That's so gross.
I know, but I think they do. I mean,
so you think the Vegas pools are pee pools?
Yes. Yes. And I wish, what movie was that? Grown Ups? That whatever they said, like there's that ink, like if you're going, there's like this blue cloud.
Well, we were all told that as a kid, right?
Well, then I'm not going in there. Yeah. I don't think that's the thing. If it is, I think the Vegas pools would be whatever color that ink is or that dye.
Just straight up, right?
Yeah,
you're probably right. So gross.
What was not gross this weekend was preseason football for the 49ers. Now, again, evaluating the game.
I'm sorry. We're going to Trey Lance MVP.
Yes. Let's go. If we're going overboard one way or the other, let's go. Not even early running. I think he's the favorite.
Oh, for sure.
He will be the MVP this year. He was great. He was really good. The Niners,
unanimous.
For their case, what did they sit out? 20 veteran starters against the Packers.
So basically everybody.
But I don't know who the other starter was behind Trey Lance. Besides, I don't know, maybe it was one of the young linemen getting some work.
It had to be someone on the offensive line, right?
I think so. Aaron Rodgers didn't play. Jordan Love played. Oof.
Jordan Love.
3 picks.
Oy.
He's the backup, but he's year
3 or 4.
And I still think when there was all that drama with Rodgers, I'm like, they got to keep him. One, he's great. I mean, just 2 MVPs in a row.
At his age,
they don't have an answer as a backup right now. I mean, Jordan Love literally is there, but they would have moved on from Rodgers if it was really that much of a problem.
I don't think Jordan Love's lost a regular season game, though.
Good point. Or a playoff game. Jordan Love,
No, he played 1 regular season game last year, and they barely won. Did they win like 10-6?
Yeah, probably. Super ugly. 13 of 24, 176, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. That's for Jordan Love.
Yikes.
But you care about the 49ers. Let's give you Brock Purdy. 3 of 6 for 36 yards and a score. Nate Sudfeld, 8 of 11 for 103 and a score.
Nate.
But Trey Lance, 4 for 5, 92 yards. He did throw a touchdown. Perfect passer rating on this day, but here's how it sounded with that score.
Trey Lance on 3rd and long, dropping back to pass. Stepping up in the pocket, throwing it deep downfield to Gray. He's got it to the 30, the 25, the 20, the 10, and touchdown. And the speedster, Danny Gray. Welcome to the 49ers.
Well, that actually may be another part of the story is Danny Gray apparently is just lightning fast.
Yeah,
they've already got good receivers. But
I think Danny Gray is going to make the roster.
I mean, things like that, plays like that. And again, preseason, 1 game. But, Jay, it's a play like that catches your attention. It was a good touch throw on a deep ball that only really he could have caught, and Gray stayed in bounds, didn't get tackled, takes it the rest of the way. Big plays are exciting, but I think you can get a lot of big plays with Trey Lance.
Well, that's the thing. And so you go with big play from the quarterback. If you talk about big plays last year from a passing standpoint with the 49ers, it was always yards after catch.
Yeah, it was Debo had all those.
It was either Debo or, I know he was hurt a lot last year, but it's sometimes Kittle as well. It was get them the ball, I swear, anywhere between 5 to 10 yards. It never seemed like it went further than 5 to 10 yards and let them go to work, right? And I'm sure that'll still be that will still be in the 49ers, bag of tricks this year. But this is where you saw him do one thing that we have said for 4 seasons now that Jimmy Garoppolo couldn't do. It's throw the ball 20 yards or more.
Yeah, with touch.
With touch.
Yeah.
The Niners were 26th last year in completions of 20 yards or more. And I was a little concerned, and this was always a concern when you saw Trey last year pass, was it seemed like, Jason, he was throwing 100-mile-an-hour knuckleballs. Like there was no spiral on the ball whatsoever. But that looked like it improved. And again, one preseason game. I don't want to overhype this. But you saw the improvements you needed to see from last year, right? Quickly, just the accuracy, spiral on the football. And if they can translate that big play ability, and he doesn't have to do it every play,
right?
But we've heard nothing but great things out of Brandon Ayuk in camp this year. And if he can be that deep ball threat, and you add that wrinkle to the 49ers offense on top of, hey, get Kittle or get Debo the ball 5 to 10 yards out and let him go to work, it has potential to be special.
Yeah.
Potential is the key word, though.
I think so. And really guided by Kyle Shanahan. I know there's some doubters in him. I just think he's been a really good quarterback whisperer throughout this league. I think it's been proven. Here's what Kyle Shanahan had to say about Trey's game.
The first play didn't have one, made a good scramble. It was nice to come down with that third down play to Danny. So he did some good things. It was a good first game. Wish we had kept him out there more, but got to get him out.
Yeah, got to stay healthy. That's the most important thing. Preseason, get out of there with some reps and healthy. So here's what I said last year.
And I'm also, just real quick, I'm almost positive that I said he's not playing in the second game. He'll play in the third one, but he's not playing in the second one.
Here's what I said last year about Kyle Shanahan. And I think I'm going to stick with this, but here's where it might be changing if they believe this much in Trey Lance. Jay, I think if all things were equal, you could almost plug and play Hall of Famers at every position.
Mm-hmm.
I think to the core, Kyle Shanahan wants to be a running team.
Absolutely.
I think that's in him.
We've seen that now for 6 seasons.
But with that said, I also think he's smart. I think what's his... And that's not a knock on Jimmy, but maybe as much as the quarterbacks before that. But okay, what's the best way we can serve this team? I think he wants to control the line of scrimmage, has a good defense, limit mistakes, make the big plays when they're there, but run the ball, kind of take your spirit away. Be a physical team. I think that's what he wants. So if he had Hall of Famers all the way around, I think he's going to run the ball to Emmitt Smith more or Barry Sanders, whoever he's got, even if he has Marino, Elway, Peyton Manning, Brady. But now I want to see if that shifts a little bit more to hey, I trust my quarterback a little bit more, or is he still going to innately be I'm going to run, even if the numbers are even, I just think he likes to be a running offense.
That offense, I still think, will be predicated on the run, and for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, I think his run offense is just amazing. It's just been it works. It doesn't matter who's in that backfield.
That's a plug and play.
It's been, whether it's been Matt Breida, whether it's been Raheem Mostert, whether it's been Elijah Mitchell, it always works. And you look at the running back situation right now. You have Elijah Mitchell coming back off of a great rookie campaign. He's your lead back. He's going to get a lot of reps. Jeff Wilson Jr. is healthy.
Healthy again.
And if he's healthy, he's your second guy. And then we still, you've heard a few things. Trey Sermon's looked a lot better in camp this year. There's your 3 running backs. He has that. That would be the focal point. I don't think he wants Trey Lance throwing the ball 30 to 40 times a game, especially in his rookie year. I just think because he's a rookie, he's going to be more prone to make mistakes. How do you limit that? You don't throw as much. The big difference now with having Trey Lance, at least in theory, is how many times did we see it last year, Jason, where the 49ers, especially in the first half of the season, got behind and Shanahan had to abandon the run because, you're down 2 touchdowns early on. Jimmy Garoppolo, if that run game was not going, he could not get you back in the game. Jimmy Garoppolo, his entire, whether he was going to play good or not, was based upon how well the run game was going. To the point where in the second half of the season, when the Niners would get down, they didn't abandon the run game because they couldn't trust Jimmy.
Yeah.
Whereas now you have a quarterback, I think that, again, in theory, if you get down early, you're not going to abandon the run game, but you can pass the ball more, and you're going to have more of an opportunity to allow the passing offense to get you back in the game than years prior.
Yeah, and the other thing I think they need to do better at, Jay, is the Niners for the last 3 to 4 years have been fine moving the ball. They get field goals a lot.
A lot.
And they've got a really good kicker in Robbie Gould, but okay, touchdown, Ideally, it seems like the Niners would score first, maybe 7-0, rely on the defense, add another score, but it's 10, or maybe 2 field goals to start the game. You move twice, you got a pick, you scored again, it's 6-0, they score a touchdown, you're already losing. You're like, well, you're dominating the first quarter and a half. You make one mistake and you're losing because they don't punch in enough first downs and ultimately touchdowns.
No, they would always dominate time of possession, and it would be by a lot. But to your point, in the red zone, and it goes back to, again, having a quarterback that with Trey Lance you're hoping can do more things, whether that is, hey, if a play breaks down, he can scramble and get into the end zone.
Yeah.
You can run different running plays. We saw it last year when they got down into the red zone early on in the season. They would run plays for Trey Lance to get in, and I think you'll see a lot of that this year if they're within 10 yards that they're going to utilize Trey Lance's legs. But also, again, you hope he can pass into the end zone, which Jimmy Garoppolo struggled with.
Yeah. Well, they got work to do so far. The first preseason game looks good for Trey Lance and for the 49ers. All right, the first full week of preseason is done. There's other storylines to follow, especially around the quarterback position. We've got that when we come back.
Live and past broadcasts of the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross and Cattles and Robbie.
Interviews, podcasts, and more.
They all live on the Sactown Sports 1140 app. Download the app now in the App Store and Google Play.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie.
A hot one. Take a shot right now.
Call or text at 916-339-1140.
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross on Sactown Sports 1140.
That's right, Carmichael Dave off today. Back with us tomorrow. Jason Ross, JayMarZZ, or as our YouTubers are saying, is Dave pulling an AD today?
Street clothes, Dave.
Also, under 30 Earl. Dave is in the, quote, game time decision stage of his career.
Sounds like it, right?
Yeah. He's golfing in Southern California today. He'll be back tomorrow.
Golfing poorly, more than likely.
Probably. He did a Twitter PSA, let's say, because he got that seat on Southwest that has that open spot. That's like the premier. That's the first class of Southwest.
Those are the things that get Dave off in life, right?
Yeah.
It's getting the right seat.
Yep. But he's a tall guy that fits. But I mean,
sure,
there might
I
have been someone taller
understand.
than him on the plane. But I've been on that before, where I've seen a woman in there. I would say was barely 5 feet tall, and I'm like, okay, like
that's just rude.
Yeah,
that's just bad plainsmanship.
Yeah, I agree. Our text line also, we were just talking in the last segment about Trey Lance. Our guy Rich, didn't Lance throw a long touchdown in the first game of the preseason last year? He's a project. Is he really better than Jordan Love, or is Love out there practicing throws while Niner front office trying to promote Lance to the fan base? I mean, the Niners are all in on Trey Lance. I mean, I'm not saying he's the next thing yet, but he could be. I mean, I don't know. I think they've got a good coach. They believe in him, in Trey Lance. But all that's fine, Jay. But if he goes out and throws 4 picks in week 1 and backs it up with another bad game in week 2 and week 3, we'll be questioning him for sure, as will they.
And that's why in the segment we said it. Like, all of this is in theory with Trey Lance. Nobody's getting overhyped. But I think comparing him and Jordan Love is unfair for multiple reasons. Number one, like you said, the 49ers are all in on Trey Lance. The Packers are not all in on Jordan Love.
Right.
Because if the Packers were all in on Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers would be quarterbacking somewhere else. So
he might have been in Denver by now or
somewhere else. So that's kind of the point is I don't really think you can compare the two.
Yeah. As far as the Raiders go, they did win yesterday. They sat just about everybody, too. They beat the Vikings, so they're 2-0 in the preseason.
Nick Mullins.
Mullins was getting stats. Jarrett Stidham was getting stats. There's more and more people talking about the Raiders, and I think they should. I don't know why they I just think they went through so much last year and still made the playoffs. The game they had to win at the end against the Chargers, they did. Competitive against the Bengals, though their offense kind of let them down in that game. They added a lot of offense. They added some defense. They changed the coaching staff around. The division's really tough, but I think the Raiders are going to definitely be in the mix of that division.
Oh, for sure. I think they've kind of, number one, I think people kind of forgot how much adversity they went through last year to make the playoffs, number one. Number two, I think everyone has gotten hyped on the other 3 quarterbacks in that division, whether it's Herbert, whether it's Wilson or Mahomes, that they've kind of forgot Derek Carr is still a really good quarterback, and he's got some weapons around him. I agree. I think the Raiders are going to be in the thick of it in the AFC West this year. It's going to be a really fun division.
Yes.
But of the 4 teams in that division, I think they've definitely been talked about the least, and I don't think that's correct.
Yeah, I think again, someone's going to be left out, and if not multiple teams. But, in Denver, I know there's excitement when you add a Super Bowl caliber quarterback and a guy that's going to be in the Hall of Fame, but they've had some issues too. So I don't know where they fall in line.
And the Chargers still have to show they can get to the postseason.
They've been everybody's darling for like a decade, if not like even when Phillip Rivers, this is the year. And it's like, it hasn't been.
How many years was it? Yes. For the
Phillip
Chargers.
Rivers and LT.
Yep. Yeah. And it never materialized.
Right.
Last year, I think everybody thought, especially with what was going on with the Raiders, that Denver sucked last year and the Chiefs were clearly a different team. It was like, the Chargers are going to sneak in this year, and then they blew it.
Right.
They still have to win.
Yes, they have to prove it.
And to me, of the 4 teams in that division, they are the least likely to win.
You put them least likely, huh?
Of the 4 teams, if you had to rank, I think Denver has some really good receivers that are finally going to have a quarterback get them the ball. I think Denver will be the most improved of those 4 teams. But right now, just because I've seen it from the Raiders.
Yeah.
With less talent. I haven't seen it from the Chargers yet. So if I were to rank that division right now, which that won't matter, it would be Chiefs. I would say tied for second, Raiders and Broncos, and then the Chargers.
Okay. And that could still mean the Chargers are 9-8, 10-7.
I'm not saying they're going to suck.
Yeah. a good division. It really is. The division that are a couple of quarterback news and notes from around the league. Baker Mayfield looks like he's going to get that job as the number one.
As well he should.
Over Sam Darnold. So, I mean, that's a trade that they move him there. They started him as the number one, and by all accounts, it's like there's some separation going there. Zach Wilson for the Jets. Big year. It's year 2, but he had this play the other day.
Play action. Back to throw is Wilson. Under pressure, buying time. Scrambles out of the pocket, and he'll run. Tucks it under at the 40, lowers his shoulder, and dives out close to midfield. And he's a little slow to get up, getting up with a little bit of a limp. And now I can't imagine Zach Wilson's going to stay in this football game.
No, he just gave the sign for somebody to come in. He was down on the turf now, laying at the 40-yard line.
So the last thing that the Jets needed to see is their starting quarterback with a non-contact injury, as I'm not sure he was even touched. He just kind of went dead leg on the cut, dove to midfield, and then got up with a limp, and then went down back at the Jet 40-yard line. So just like that, Joe Flacco is up warming up.
That's the Jets radio network. And, Wilson injured that knee before. The good news, Jay, it sounds like it's not as serious. It could be 2 to 4 weeks on recovery, so they should have him back soon.
So they won't be the Jimmy G sweepstakes is what you're telling me.
I don't think so. Though Robert Saleh would know him.
Robert Saleh knows him well, but didn't Robert Saleh come out, I want to say like a week or 2 ago, and it might not have been him, but basically alluding to Joe Flacco could be a starting quarterback still in the NFL.
Okay.
All right.
Well, good luck.
You keep thinking that.
Good luck. I say the lottery. I know it's not the lottery in the NFL, but basically good luck in the lottery again.
Yeah, no,
They're going to be
no
back
kidding.
And I don't know that the Jets are going to be very good this year.
No,
anyway.
but they're trying to win.
They are, and they think you think you go up that high, you pick 2, you think you've drafted your franchise quarterback who had a shaky rookie season and a second season starting off with a preseason injury. So that's rough news there. Now, it could be different. You could be in Cleveland where all eyes were on Deshaun Watson this last week as he finally got a chance to play. He looked rusty. Man, he
looked bad.
He did. Talk about simple throws, throw and catch, drag routes over the middle, 5-yard connection. He just missed. He was missing guys, but I think to me, one of the things before we'll get into him as a player, as his actual game, this stood out to me almost more, Jay, of something Deshaun Watson said earlier in the day before his first preseason game.
I want to say that I'm truly sorry to all the women that I've impacted in this situation. My decisions that I made in my life that put me in this position, I would definitely like to have back, but I want to continue to move forward and grow and learn and show that, I am a true person of character, and I want to keep pushing forward.
Okay, on the surface, that's fine, everything he said, but I think what needs to be called out here is he had been saying, I'm not guilty of anything, I did no wrongdoings, there's nothing to see here. It's not admitting guilt, but it's why are you apologizing for what?
Yeah, that was what I took from it is, okay, we went from this whole thing of done no wrong. Remember when the 6-game suspension came down and it was like, hey, we're taking this, but also we didn't do anything wrong. Right. That to me was the first admission of guilt was I'm not doing anything wrong, but I accept this 6-game suspension. Yes. Now it's I'm not doing anything wrong, but before my first time suiting up in a new uniform, I need to apologize for what I've done.
Especially while they're looking at me to get me a full season. Let me show some remorse. And it's like, wait, what's happening here?
It doesn't feel genuine, does it?
Right.
And so now it's just, I think this situation has gotten so bad. The scuttlebutt over the weekend was, it sounds like the NFL's going to get a year. They're going to get the year suspension they want. I'd imagine he appeals that.
Yes.
This process isn't going away anytime soon.
No, and you want these things to move quickly. I'm sure the Browns do. I'm sure Deshaun Watson wants to know what his future is, but I don't know. I was very surprised by that.
Yes, I was too.
That quote and the comments came out, and I was like, oh, this is a different tone from Deshaun Watson.
It was a different tone, but it was also an advised tone.
Yes.
It was, hey, come out and say this. It was definitely let's try to soften the blow, so to speak. But I think the damage is already done, right? Is there anything Deshaun Watson can say other than coming out and admitting just full-on guilt that you're going to look at him and be like, oh, okay, he definitely is remorseful? I don't.
Yeah, the only other thing, which this is miracle land, which won't happen, is to have the 20-plus women all say, yeah, this isn't real, which that's not happening. That is not happening. So, yeah.
I think we're looking at a situation where I don't know if he'll win an appeal. I don't think he will. I truly don't. I think now we just kind of have to look at a situation where this guy is going to miss a second straight season. How's that going to look next year? Because remember, essentially all his money is guaranteed after this season. Did the Browns just make one of the worst transactions in NFL history? That's going to start becoming a topic.
Yeah, and not that you can't find it again, but based on missing the last year plus in his first preseason, he looked really off.
Yeah.
So imagine a full another year of missing and not playing football.
He hasn't played football in 18 months. Yeah. He misses another year. It'll be 30 months by the time this rolls around next year. I don't know. I just think this is a situation that is it's so bad both on the personal and the professional level.
Yeah.
To guarantee all that money, man.
Well, we'll see where this ultimately goes. There's going to be more on that story, certainly, as we continue to follow what's going on with Deshaun Watson. All right, let's go to basketball now. We got that coming up. The Kings, they keep adding players. Hey, maybe you're on the Kings now. Who knows? Check your roster. JayMarZZ is going to be competing for one of these spots. Are there legitimate spots open? Is this a genuine competition? We have that next.
You want more Kings coverage? Sactown Sports 1140's giving it to you.
You know, you'll be watching and thinking, man, like, I guess Keegan, he's maybe not as good today. And then you look up and he's got, 12 and 8 and it's, the second quarter and he is just so calm, so efficient.
I think it's absolutely what Sacramento needs. I think there's this sense that something special is starting to fall into place.
Log on to SactownSports.com for exclusive content. SactownSports.com. It's the Carmichael Dave Show.
He's on the microphone when he's not on the microphone. He's playing a song, and when he's not playing a song, he's on the microphone, and then boom.
With Jason Ross.
Jay, hey, my headset's
Text or call the show at 916-339-1140. It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross on Sactown Sports 1140.
Final hour of the show on this Monday. Carmichael Dave is back with us tomorrow. Jason Ross, JayMarZZ, you're going to love this text.
Oh, am I?
The Chargers are the Angels of football.
Wow.
See?
Well done, Texture.
I knew you'd like that one.
Well done indeed. And they're both the bootleg LA team, so that makes sense.
That was well
right?
done.
The Chargers are the bootleg LA team.
Oh, yeah.
That's Rams territory.
Well, it was
And
Rams
Raiders.
territory, and Raiders still might be the most popular team there. But then the Rams at least backed it up with a Super Bowl.
Yeah, for sure.
And should be good again, too. I mean, the Chargers will be good. It's just, I just,
okay.
It's not the same.
We would say the average LA fan, if we count the Rams, right? Probably is Lakers, Rams, Dodgers. I want to meet the person that is Clippers, Angels, Chargers.
You know there's that, the contrarians.
Well, because again, look at it from the New York market is very similar. Whereas again, I think the diehard New York fan is probably Yankees, Giants, and Knicks.
Right.
And then now I want to meet the guy who is Nets, Mets, Jets.
Mm-hmm. That's like here for the most part, I felt like you were Niners, Giants.
Yep.
And then you like the A's and the Raiders. It wasn't foolproof because there was some crossover.
And there always is.
But I would say if you split up the pieces of the puzzle, it landed that way more often than not.
For sure.
But in LA, yeah. I mean, I know, the Chargers are a weird one because when I grew up down there, this is again 100 years ago now, but the San Diego Chargers were not only there were Charger fans that lived in San Diego, but actually we had quite a few people in Orange County that would like own them more so, and it was a little bit farther than to go to LA. They didn't want to be any part of LA, and they kind of attached themselves to the Chargers. And now that the Chargers went there, one, they moved from their city, and two, they went to LA. Like there's people that just turned on them.
Oh, for sure. I don't think San Diego fan is traveling to LA to go watch the Chargers. Not that many.
I'm sure there's some, but most of them are probably like, I'm done.
You've seen the stadium there.
Yeah.
It is empty.
Right.
They
abandoned them.
Pretty much. Can you blame them?
Not at all. Not at all. All right, so let's get to some NBA. This was another kind of surprise over the weekend. Again, is it a huge deal in the grand scheme of things? I don't think so, but I don't want to totally discredit Sam Merrill. But the Sacramento Kings have signed Sam Merrill.
Wow!
Yes.
Let the Sam Merrill era begin.
I believe he's more of a two guard. He's about 6'4"-ish.
Yeah, he's a two guard.
Pretty good college player and has been in the NBA, been with the Bucks and been with the Memphis Grizzlies. So he's been in two good organizations, but this is getting very, very crowded for the Sacramento Kings. They have 20 players currently, and they got some roster juggling to do. Now, I don't know if right now, I guess I'll just ask you it this way, Jay. Do you think Mike Brown and this large new coaching staff that they have,
yeah, but
do you think today they know their top 8?
Yes.
You think so?
I do. Also, just real quick on the coaching staff thing, because that final coaching staff announcement went out on Friday, correct?
Yes.
They have, I think, 37 coaches on staff. It is insane.
I remember in Vegas in the Summer League, and went, they have more people in the gray tops than that are playing.
Right. They have more coaches than players, like legitimately, I think. And I'm old enough to remember back when it was, you had a head coach and assistant coach, and then like teams that were willing to shell out for a second assistant coach had 2.
Right.
But like, for instance, like when the Kings came to Sacramento, the coaching staff was Phil Johnson, Jerry Reynolds. That was the staff, Jason.
And it ended there.
Yes.
Yes. Well, let's look at this. So if you think they've got the 8, do you think we could?
I can name it right now.
Okay.
Here is
you want to do it by position? Is that easier? Or
I'll just do who I think are their 8 guys that are going to be in the rotation, locked in. De'Aaron Fox.
Okay, I'd agree.
Kevin Huerter.
Okay.
Harrison Barnes.
Okay.
Keegan Murray.
Okay.
Domantas Sabonis, Davion Mitchell, Malik Monk, Rashawn Holmes. Lock it in.
Okay, so I have questions. I don't disagree with any of that. So is the next part of the bubble, like I guess the one that could jump into 9 or Terrence Davis?
Possibly.
Here, I
have the roster up.
Trey Lyles?
Trey Lyles can jump in there. I think if they go with the 9-man rotation, I'd have Trey Lyles just based upon position.
Well, and here's what the 8 you gave me, I think Sabonis and Holmes are basically only playing the center. I mean, you could maybe find a way. We haven't figured out if those two can play together. It didn't look like they could. You're a little light at the 3-4, but I still maintain Herter can play some 3.
Well, I think you could. Here's a couple scenarios. I think they'll go with a 9-man rotation.
Okay.
And I think Lyles is the 9th guy because of position. So you can theoretically go to a lineup where Harrison is still at the 3. You bring Trey Lyles in to play the 4 to replace Keegan, right?
Okay.
Or you can even go small ball. You have Harrison move up to the 4. And like you said, you could have Herter play the 3, Monk at the 2, Fox at the 1. Maybe Mitchell comes in to replace Fox, play at the 1, but still same mentality. And then, like you said, Holmes and Sabonis, they're playing the 5. They're swapping at the 5, whatever those minutes are.
So if you give the 9 at Fox, Herter, Barnes, Murray, Sabonis, Mitchell, Monk, we're putting Lyles in there and Holmes. That's 9.
Then I'm looking...
Dellavedova and Cook, one of them is going to be the 3rd guard. The other one's not on the team, correct?
Right.
So correct. I would say that's a competition. Those two are competing against one another, not against Mitchell and Fox.
No, absolutely not. Lock it in now. Your starter's De'Aaron Fox at the 1. Davion Mitchell is your backup.
Okay.
Unless Davion somehow has just this amazing camp and is your starting 2 somehow. But I just don't foresee that happening.
Okay, then other 2 at the 2, Terrence Davis and Sam Merrill.
I think Davis is definitely your 3rd guy there. Sam Merrill, and I'm looking, according to Spotrac, he has an Exhibit 10 deal, which is a training camp deal.
Okay.
So
he's likely not going to make it.
He's likely not. And remember, Davis has guaranteed money. He has $4 million guaranteed. It will be Davis over Merrill regardless.
Okay.
So pencil him as your 3rd 2 guard, probably.
I guess I could put in Keon Ellis as well, but we feel like
he's a two-way guy.
He's going to be Stockton.
He'll be in Stockton.
And we're going to put Keita there too, right?
Keita's in Stockton. Yeah, I don't count the 2-way players in this.
Okay, so Dellavedova, Cook, Terrence Davis, and Merrill. If we kind of go to that 3-4 position, KZ Okpala, Chime Moneki, and Chimezi Metu.
Yep.
Am I missing anybody?
No. No,
okay.
That's accurate.
Okay.
And then at the center, you just have Alex Lynn.
I feel like I'm missing one player. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 19. I am missing one player.
Give me your lineup again.
So I did your 9: Fox, Herter, Barnes, Murray, Sabonis, Mitchell, Monk, Lyles, Holmes.
Okay.
That's the 9 you said are in the rotation.
Yep.
Dellavedova and Cook.
Mm-hmm.
Terrence Davis, Merrill, Keon Ellis, Okpala, Moneki and Metu, Alex Len and Keita.
Did you put Merrill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Who are we missing?
I don't know.
We'll find out.
Yeah. I have one
I'm
less.
looking at the roster right now, and everyone you said is on there. There's another.
There is somebody we're missing, and I can't find who. If you're hearing this, you know on
this is the best radio of all
it
time.
is, but I don't know who we actually missed, unless I not count correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I know they're at 20. Anyway, I think the last couple of spots, though, and you're going to have 15 with the two-way guys. So we think, 3? I think between Dellavedova and Cook, one's on the team, one's not.
Yeah, and I would say Moneki and Okpala, I think one of those guys is being left off.
And Merrill could be in a tough spot.
And then I think Merrill will probably not make the team.
Yeah.
I truly believe that's what you're looking at. And so we say all of this to say Sam Merrill is a guy that is going to be a training camp invitee that is probably waived. The point is, when you're looking at this team and you're looking at it from a competition standpoint, here are your competitions: 3rd string point guard, and then 14th and 15th spots on the team.
Yeah.
I really believe that's what it is. That's where we're at. I think the rest of this team is set.
I think as far
barring
as
a trade coming up out of nowhere.
Yeah. And then I think in your top 9 that you have listed, I think the legit competition is for starting 2.
For sure. Between Monk and Herter?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could buy that.
Yeah.
Because no one's taking Harrison Barnes' spot at the 3.
I wouldn't think so.
I highly doubt Trey Lyles will start over Keegan Murray at the 4. Rashawn's not starting over Sabonis. No. Mitchell's not starting over Fox.
Right. I think the only other thing, I don't think this will happen, but I think it needs to be thrown out there. Any chance that Mitchell's starting at 2?
Again, there's a chance, but he is going to have to play out of his mind to start over both Herter and Monk. Out of his mind. What does that entail? It means he's going to have to fit right next to De'Aaron Fox. He's going to have to play great defense.
He will.
But his spot up shooting is going to have to be 40% from 3. Truly. If they're looking at him and his spot up shooting is that way and he can spot up and hit that from a 40% mark, sure, you can start to make the argument.
I know we get into this and we'll do it again this year, starter, non-starter, but if he starts the first 6 minutes and he's the first one out, or Fox gets the first breather and you bring in Monk or Herter, aren't you kind of starting? I mean, it's just the way the game begins, and if you're trying to get better defensive, I don't know. I'm not saying that's the way I would go.
I don't think they go that way.
Especially because it looks like the majority of his minutes are going to be at the backup point.
Right, and right now I think they should be. I'm not going to, as good as Davion played in the last 10 to 15 games last year, I'm not going to look at that. Who is it? Who's the player? Oh, geez. Kent Bazemore.
Yeah,
Kent Bazemore will be on the roster.
Yeah.
Kent Bazemore is probably your 3rd.
But where's his competition? Like, where's he competing there for?
He might be either competing for Terrence Davis's minutes as the 3rd shooting guard or as a...
He could get right in behind Barnes.
He could. He's small at small forward at 6'4". And we've talked about this for I don't know how long, how the team needs to have length at the wing positions. And that's not one thing Kent Bazemore does.
Yeah.
I'm not anticipating Kent Bazemore to be a regular rotation guy. I think Bazemore is there as a good locker room guy. I think that's what he was there for 2 years ago. Got minutes, obviously, just out of necessity. But I think he is more a veteran impact guy that if someone gets hurt, then we can probably see Bazemore get some minutes.
Yeah, and again, I know we're going to get caught up in this end of the 20-man roster, but the meat of it is, and I'm going to stick with the 2 for now, it's Fox and Sabonis. They have to be, I mean...
Nothing else matters if those 2 guys don't play well.
I mean, we could all go, look at Denver's depth. Look at the Warriors' depth. Look at Memphis's depth. It matters how Steph and Draymond play. It matters how Jamal Murray and Jokic play. I mean, all those other pieces are important.
Depth is irrelevant if your stars aren't playing well.
Right. Dame got hurt last year. Portland fell off a cliff.
Yes.
He's the most important piece to the puzzle.
Yes.
And they had other players, capable players.
Yeah. And, and for the Kings, De'Aaron started out really poorly last year.
Yeah.
They sucked.
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
Right.
It did not matter what anyone else is doing. Rashawn Holmes early in the season was playing really well. Did not matter. Harrison Barnes early in the season playing really well. Did not matter because De'Aaron wasn't going.
Yeah. Need him. Need Sabonis to be great. 20 players is where the roster stands at now. Camp will begin sooner than you know it. The schedule is coming out supposedly this week, and there's some schedule leaks. We'll get into some of those games to look forward to when we come back.
Check out the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa every week on Sactown Sports 1140. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people that play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf.
It's the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa.
Thursday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturday morning from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Sactown Sports 1140. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility, and Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality, and Safe Credit Union. Let us put you first.
What's your favorite James Bond movie? The Esquire IMAX Theater in downtown Sacramento is shaking things up Martini style with a different James Bond film each week for 6 weeks.
A martini, shaken not stirred.
See the best James Bond actors like Sean Connery, Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan, and others in their best James Bond roles. Visit IMAX.com/Sacramento for tickets and reserve seating for this week's James Bond film.
Name's Bond. James Bond.
Now playing on the largest screen in Sacramento at the Esquire IMAX Theater in downtown Sacramento.
At Ashton & Price, we get injury victims to yes. Experience, yes. Ashton & Price has been around for over 25 years. No more insurance companies? Yes. Our clients focus on getting better and we handle all the rest. Results? Yes. We've collected over $100 million for injury victims. No fee until we win? Yes. Our clients pay nothing until we win. Ashton and Price, the best at getting to yes. Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
The 94th most popular celebrity from Carmichael
How popular do you want to be?
meets a Celtics broadcasting legend.
Celtics are going to go for the win. Everybody here at Golden One Center on their feet.
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross on Sactown Sports 1140.
I feel bad. Sorry, Baze. When he's on the show, we can't let him know about this little secret.
And we had him on the show when he was a King. Just a really nice guy.
He's great.
Wants to go play golf and just Kent Bazemore.
Yeah. I wrote down everybody. I was like, man, who am I missing?
You know, for a quote-unquote journeyman, he's actually made quite the living in the NBA.
He has, and he also not only is the unique joins the unique list of people that have been on the Kings twice, but how about he's been on the Kings twice, the Lakers twice, and the Warriors twice.
Was he a Laker 2 times?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then, of course,
Hawks.
I mean, the Hawks are who paid him.
Yeah.
That was his best stint. But, yeah, I remember that first Warriors stint. That's what essentially got him paid by Atlanta.
Yep. So he's here. He's one of the 20 members of the Sacramento Kings. As we said, the NBA schedule is supposed to come out this week. Jay and I have differing views on the schedule. You're not a schedule guy. And I don't even know that I say I'm a schedule guy.
You're a schedule guy.
It's the planner. It's the, okay, here's what I do. And then now being round 2 for the mornings, and this is what people have asked, hey, what's it like getting up early? I go, well, I don't know that you ever get used to it. I said the trickier part, though, is when the Kings are going, because that's literally the tough turnaround. But what I learned last year is the best part about the schedule then for me is it's not a surprise. Like there's no rain out made up doubleheader on this day. Like, oh boy, this week.
Although that would be something if there was, wouldn't it?
The Kings have 3 late night games this week on a Monday through Friday. I'm like, all right, I got to plan accordingly for that week. Oh, this week's light. They're in the East Coast and there's 2 games. You know, you know what your week is ahead for especially for, doing the turnaround with the mornings.
But it does suck when they have the 7:00 games, home games. Those do suck because
the 7:30 are the worst.
But the 7:30 one is bad.
Yeah.
That one's bad. But it's also the dream is when they're on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And they're doing the 4 or 4:30 start times. Like that's the best when you're doing morning radio.
Yes.
Because you can fully ingest the game and get a good night's sleep.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, play the who is it? The Lakers play at 7:30, Clippers play at 7:30. Play them on Saturday nights.
Please.
That's fine. On the road. Down there.
Even Sunday nights is fine.
Yeah. Sunday nights?
Actually, you're right. Never mind. Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, Friday or Saturday. Schedule's supposed to come out later this week. I will say this. I haven't seen sometimes I get a chance to get a early look at a copy. I've not seen that yet.
KD is holding all of that up.
I do confirm that. I know when we were in Vegas, there was talk. I mean, the schedule doesn't come out till about now anyway, but they said some of the machinations of it, they said, because it was really feeling like KD was going to get traded around when we were in Vegas for the Summer League. And they said, no, people are literally waiting on that specifically for like Christmas games and maybe the opener.
Well,
because if he goes to a high profile team, they want to put him on.
Well, it's not just, Christmas in the opener. It's just national television games, period.
Yes.
If he's on the Nets, they're going to want to feature the Nets 45 times on national TV.
Right.
If he's not on the Nets, they're not going to want to feature the Nets that many times on national TV. And that's a big deal. He is a draw.
Right.
So whoever he goes to is going to benefit from that on a national television standpoint. And if he does leave Brooklyn, the NBA is not going to want to put them on that many. They're not that interesting at that point.
Yeah. You had said earlier in the show you don't care as much anymore if the Kings are on national TV.
I could care less if the Kings are on national TV.
Did you care before?
When I was younger, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's always been a thing for people. How do they get – well, they've been in the lottery for 16 straight years.
They don't feature teams that nobody cares about on national TV. Here's how this works. It's national, right?
Right.
Who's going to draw the most eyeballs? Who's not? I can tell you this. The Kings are always on the not list.
They are, but I would say like sometimes, and we've seen some games, obviously, they do this ahead of the season, and you go, really? This is the game you picked for tonight? No, some nights it makes perfect sense. Other nights it doesn't. But I think you're going to find there's going to be a game this year.
You think so?
Uh-huh.
Interesting.
I think so.
Is this just a thought, or is a birdie been in your ear?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
But what I would say, too, is, like, again, if you're doing that, then get Kings, Warriors, Kings, Lakers, Kings, whoever.
Yeah, don't do Kings, Hornets.
No. Yeah, I mean, that's just not – you're the Hornets, they may be exciting, and they may be exciting
here in
Sacramento.
You need name value.
That's not that's not popping for the rest of the league.
I guess the Kings, if this were the year that they would finally crack that, and by national TV, I want to point out, I do not mean NBA TV games. Those don't count.
No.
I mean either it's ESPN or TNT.
Right. You need with the pregame crew
Correct.
and all that stuff. Yeah.
Breaking them down.
Yeah.
And this would be the year, I think, with Fox and Sabonis having a full year that, again, and a lot of people have looked at the Kings like, okay, they may make a little noise.
Mm-hmm.
This would be the year to feature them once or twice.
Right.
That makes sense.
And by the way, we know this from past. If they are good and win a bunch of games, it's not going to matter this year. Next year,
they'll be all over.
And maybe it's 5 games, 10. I don't know.
Remember,
they've had as many as 20, I think, one year.
Yeah, and I want to say a long time ago, wasn't it? Like every team was featured once on national TV.
I thought that was
back in the 90s. I remember I went to 2 different games that I remember were the TNT games at Arco Arena. And one was against Portland. The other was against the Clippers. And just like the atmosphere and seeing the TNT banner as a kid, I thought was so cool. Exactly.
Yeah.
It felt big.
Yeah. What we do know is the defending champs, the Warriors, are going to open up on October 18th against the Lakers. It'll be the ring ceremony, big night for them.
Fart in church.
Because the Lakers part of it.
Yes.
They've got Russell Westbrook.
Great.
They've got LeBron James.
Okay.
They've got Anthony Davis.
Cool.
And it's the Warriors.
Yeah, the Warriors make sense. The NBA champion being featured on opening night makes a ton of sense. The Lakers, you said those 3 names. 1, Russell Westbrook. Let's just not even go there right now.
Okay.
We don't know if Anthony Davis will be healthy.
Well, that's true.
He might get a paper cut in preseason. And, LeBron's LeBron. You'll have the star power there. But it's just the overall,
the love of the Lakers.
28 other teams you could have picked from.
Yeah.
I would have rather seen a Warriors. Let's get a rematch of the finals on opening night.
That's big.
That would have been way better. Let's get Milwaukee and the Warriors with Giannis coming in. That would have been. Let's get Philly and the Warriors, Embiid and Harden coming in. There's just so many better options than the Lakers on opening night.
Well, how about this for Christmas? It's also the NBA's big day.
Yes.
Now they've done it for about the last, 4 to 5 years, maybe a little more. There's 5 games on Christmas.
I love that, by the way. I love the 5-game slate.
I'm trying to think, and I love basketball. I watch it as much as I possibly can. I think on Christmas, I'll probably watch whatever is perceived. There's one that's kind of the featured game.
The middle game usually, right?
Yeah, around the 2:30 our time. I almost always watch that. And then, believe it or not, sometimes it's the last one. It feels like Christmas is kind of winding down. Maybe the mayhem is all done for the day. All the food's been eaten, put away. And it's like, in this case, it'll be Grizzlies Warriors. Okay. I'll probably, which for that case, I wouldn't be surprised if the Grizzlies are here on the 26th or the 27th. I mean, they're out here on the West Coast.
Grizzlies Warriors is going to be theoretically really fun.
Yeah. Bucks at Celtics.
That's
game.
good.
Really
That's
good
a great game.
I'll probably not watch this one, the 76ers at the Knicks.
I watch all of them, and by watch, I mean they're all
on
in the
background.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yes, to your point, I will not be glued to Knicks Sixers.
Yeah. Suns at Nuggets.
Potentially really fun. Potentially.
Lakers Mavericks is probably the one they're going to feature, but that's probably the one they're going to feature.
That's the dumb one to feature. The feature game of those 5, if you ask me, here it's a battle between these 2, and I don't think it's even that great of a battle. It's either the Warriors and Grizzlies, or it's the Celtics and Bucks. To me, that if you're picking the 5, my pick is Celtics Bucks is the real feature there.
Yeah, and this year, if I'm not mistaken, will be the first time, isn't it? The NFL is on that day too.
The NFL was on last year on Christmas Day.
Was it last year or this year? Okay, but I mean, I think they have a decent amount of games this year, and it's like, ooh, we got some competition.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I think more people will pay attention to the NFL than the NBA on Christmas Day.
Yeah,
especially with that slate. I just feel like of the 10 games we picked, why would we, again, Lakers, I get it, LeBron. And that's the only reason to have the Lakers is LeBron James. It's not even AD.
Yeah.
It's LeBron. It doesn't matter. But if he's hurt or not playing on Christmas Day, OMG, are they unwatchable?
Yeah.
They are unfreaking watchable. I feel like the Clippers, from a team standpoint, I'd rather have in there than the Lakers.
All right, here's the competition, Jay, on Christmas Day. We gave the 5 games. Here's the 3 NFL games that are on Christmas. So there's 3. Packers at the Dolphins. Broncos at the Rams.
That's a good one, potentially.
Tampa Bay at Arizona. Now, I mean, this is late in the season, so I mean, these could all be huge. They could be kind of
right now. And I at the Packers and Miami. I think Miami will be better than I am anticipating this year, but I feel like that
the NFL is going to win out.
That NFL triple header is better than the NBA's 5-game slate. Again, things could change with injury and as the season's prolonged, but on August 15th, I feel like that triple header is more interesting than the NBA's 5 games.
Yeah, that's week 16. So, I mean, that's going to have a lot of juice to it compared to
and there could be potential playoff implications in those games.
Compared to, 2 months into the NBA season. I still like the idea of the NBA starting on Christmas.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that would actually be amazing.
That's like their big signature day. You could go into the summer. You're competing against baseball. You dominate baseball.
That 2021 start and going into the summer was what it should be doing because you're going to own the summer against baseball. I think the NBA would kill baseball in the summertime.
And you knock out a month of November maybe that, it's rare, but every once in a while a game gets caught up or travel. Some plane is stuck in the snow in Toronto. And I don't know if that, you're still going to have that in December, January, and February, but I don't know. Sometimes you get that in November. I just think it fits better. College basketball could get started. You draft. Everything could just be pushed
back. The end of
back.
October is just such a weird date to start.
Yeah.
And whereas Christmas Day, like you said, that's kind of their staple holiday game.
I mean, if your ring ceremonies that day.
Yes, it would be way more intriguing.
Yeah.
Those matchups to me are way more intriguing as their first day one games than they are 20, 25 games into the season, 30 games into the season.
For sure. All right, we've got more on the NBA and their schedule. Again, we expect it to be released later this week, and no news yet on any Sacramento Kings leaks, but when we find out, we will let you know. But there is that love affair for the Lakers. Why will the league ever stop loving the Lakers? We've got that and more coming up.
Sactown Sports 1140 is broadcasting live on YouTube.
To me, it's a must-watch.
Check out the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross and the Cattles and Rami Show.
Plus, get exclusive content.
Search Sactown Sports 1140 on YouTube.
Chrysler Jeep Ram. Tickets and details at SactownSports.com.
It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross.
The only local sports show in the morning.
On Sactown Sports 1140.
LeBron James has not done enough as a Laker to be on that list. LeBron's been there now. This is his 4th season.
right? They've been there 4 seasons. 2 years they haven't
fine.
made the start in the 5th. 2 years they haven't made the postseason. 1 year they lost in the first round, and 1 year they won a championship. But if you take that one championship, and not that you take it out, but if you look at, there hasn't been a consistent level of greatness, right? You can win a championship, that's great. But part of LeBron James being famous for being LeBron James, part of the Laker organization, is consistent greatness. Not like, oh, 1 year you're trash, next year you're great. No, it's like, are you consistently those dudes? And it just hasn't intersected. So I wouldn't put him above Wilt, not yet.
That Dave sounded awfully like Richard Jefferson.
He did. That was his take. You and I were both saying that, LeBron's definitely going to have his jersey retired as a Laker. There's no doubt in my mind.
Come on. There's no way, especially if 5 or more seasons, because we don't know, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. He won a title there. Some would argue the greatest player of all time. He's been there now for about a quarter of his career.
Mm-hmm.
They're absolutely retiring his jersey.
Yeah. He's going to get the scoring mark in a Laker jersey.
Yes.
Sounds like he might even still do an extension here and play a few more years. I don't know if they're going to win another title. Let's assume they don't. It's LeBron James. I just think he's done enough there. He did get a title. He's done some good things there. He's playing at a level still that Giannis last week said, I still think he's the best player in the world. And I think a lot of people do.
Jason, we saw it last year. How many times did he just single-handedly win games for the Lakers, especially down the stretch?
He had that stretch where he had to score 50 for them to win, and he did it.
Yeah.
This far into his career.
37 last year, be 38 this year. It's interesting. I still think, and Richard Jefferson, it's not like his points aren't invalid. And I'm not disagreeing with him completely. But the 2 years that they missed the playoffs, they being the Lakers, LeBron got hurt in that first year. Remember when he got hurt on Christmas Day?
They were a 3 seed at the time.
They were really good. And then last year he was hurt. AD was hurt. Russell Westbrook was Russell Westbrooking. Like that, you can't put that all on his shoulders.
Right.
And then even the year that they did make the play-in that led to the playoffs, AD was hurt. They had real injury woes on that team too. And then they won a title the year they were healthy. I don't pin that on LeBron. I pin that on just Rob Pelinka putting garbage around him constantly.
Yeah, when that first year, when he got hurt, they were 7 games above 500. They ended the year 8 games below 500. That's a really big transition.
For sure, that's 15 games.
Yeah, huge swing from being a playoff team to missing, and that's part of it. That's a reality that did happen. The next year they win the title. The year after, I think they were going to beat the Phoenix Suns. In that first
round. If they were
round.
healthy, they would have beat the Suns.
Yeah, they were up 2-1. They got hurt. AD did. Then LeBron got banged up, and they lost. It's all part of the story. Then last year was just a colossal mess.
Last year was a colossal mess. This year, at least,
I don't know what they're going to be this year.
Are they the most polarizing team right now besides the Nets?
Well, the good thing is I don't see, like last year, a lot of people thought the Lakers were the best team in the league going in.
Listen, I'm going to be 100% honest. I had that take before the season started.
Yeah.
And I had said it with the caveat that, look, if AD and LeBron are healthy, and I was still expecting Westbrook to be way better than he was last year because I think memories get short. Westbrook's second half in Washington, he was playing out of his mind.
He helped get them to the postseason.
Yeah. So I thought, okay, those guys will figure it out. The Lakers are going to be really good. I didn't anticipate them falling off a cliff like that.
Let's look at their top, 8 to 9, 10 guys. Westbrook, we still have to leave him there as of now. Austin Reeves, Talen Horton-Tucker, LeBron and AD, Kendrick Nunn, who didn't play at all last year, Lonnie Walker, Stanley Johnson, Thomas Bryant, Juan Toscano Anderson, Damian Jones. They might have a little bit more meat later than they did last year, but I mean, it's 3/5. 2/5 of your starting lineup, I don't think start on hardly any other team. And then Westbrook is the one they've got to unlock and figure out. I mean, he's getting crapped on, and I understand why. But he's been a great player in this league that it completely fell apart. And I don't know if that's fit, if that's style, if that's his
locker room chemistry, I think, is an issue with them.
But can he find it? I mean, for a player that's been great, I feel like they can be good again. He doesn't have to be great, but he was awful.
No, he needs to be the third best player on that team, though, for
Which
them to
would be
successful.
okay.
Yeah, if he's your third best player and he's not, like you said, awful, you're already leaps and bounds better. But it's kind of the same thing we were talking about with Fox and Sabonis, right? If one or both of those guys is off the Kings, their depth in the third, fourth, fifth, sixth guy, it doesn't matter. The Lakers are that times 10, I feel like.
Yeah.
If LeBron or AD are hurt, it's done.
Yeah.
Like this team is dependent on those guys playing 65 plus games.
Yeah, but last year AD was the guy that was supposed to be the MVP type to let LeBron kind of cruise. Right. Didn't happen.
Didn't play.
AD's always hurt.
And we have no reason to believe AD is going to all of a sudden be healthy this year.
Right.
And that's why I just can't get behind the Lakers. I don't believe Russell Westbrook's going to get to a point where he has fit into whatever system that Darvin Ham is putting in and is a super productive player as their third best guy. I have no reason to believe AD is going to be healthy for 65 plus games. Quite frankly, I don't have a reason to believe LeBron's going to be healthy for 65 plus games at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So that begs the question, right?
Yeah.
Let's say the Lakers have another season similar to last year. What does LeBron do? Does he stay there just because at this point he's settled down in LA, other business ventures are in LA, and it's just like, well, it is the Lakers. I've cemented my legacy. Might as well just get paid and retire in a Laker jersey.
I don't know what else he needs to do to change the legacy talk. I mean, I think if you're in the Jordan camp, I don't know that LeBron can unseat him.
No, you can't. If you're in the Jordan camp, there's no way.
If LeBron hasn't done it by now. Like, I don't think, LeBron got to 5, and if you get to 6 to match Jordan, then some are still going to say, yeah, but Jordan never lost in the finals.
Jordan never lost in the
LeBron
finals.
played more years. And all
Jordan
that.
didn't do it on 3 different. Again, there's so many different.
But I would say the 3 different teams, like, honestly, if LeBron led a 4th team, like, that's who's ever done that. No one has done the 3 teams.
This is so dumb, but also hear me out. I've always said this. All right, you really want to cement your legacy? Go sign in Sacramento and bring them to the NBA Finals.
Right.
Take a team like that, or Charlotte even.
Right.
Let's take Orlando. Let's take the bias out of it with the Kings. Take a franchise that has never won a title and go win them a title. Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Like, imagine him jumping on the bandwagon with the talent they have now.
Right.
Saying, screw it, I've made my money. Let me sign a minimum deal in Minnesota and go play there.
Yeah.
That, to me, you really want to
That's a legacy changer.
That's a legacy changer. That's the only thing that could change his legacy at this point.
And, with them being projected, I've seen anywhere from 7th now to like missing 11th, 12th in the West.
Which is possible. Again,
Absolutely.
with the injuries, they can very well miss again.
But yet, we gave in the last segment, Jay, the opening night, there they are against the Warriors.
Yep.
Christmas, there they are against the Mavs. They've already put out their second game, too. It's the first one against the Clippers. It's the first time in X amount of games that Paul George, Kawhi, AD, and LeBron. It's like,
okay.
We're
hoping for that, right?
True. It's game 2. You never know.
Of those 4 players, any one of those guys could get hurt in game 1 or in the preseason for that matter.
Kawhi will rest.
I hope that we're talking about the second game of the year. It's Lakers. It's Clippers.
Load management.
It's load management.
Man. But they continually get love, and it's because of the tradition of the Lakers, but you wouldn't put just an 11th place team on national TV that much.
No. And so it goes back to, is this the Lakers or is it we're getting LeBron on national TV?
Yeah.
I think that's really what it is. I think because when the Lakers were, pre-LeBron, post-Kobe, you didn't really see them much on national TV because they were a circus.
But I as a fan of LeBron or of him, I like to watch him play. I don't care about the Lakers. I want the Lakers to lose every game.
And that's why. So when you see people, why are the Lakers being spotted here? It's not the Lakers being spotted here, guys. It's LeBron James being spotted here. That's what we're doing. This has nothing to. If LeBron James, again, were playing for the Charlotte Hornets this season, you'd have Warriors Hornets, or you'd have the Hornets in the first game prior to the Warriors game on the back-to-back on TNT. You know what I'm saying? It just comes down to the NBA is a star league. It helps that LeBron plays for the Lakers, but it's not the deciding factor. The way the NBA markets its individual stars now. Again, the biggest rivalry we saw in the last decade was the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors, who really, especially the Warriors, pre-2010s, Jason, they were an irrelevant team for 30 years.
Oh, yeah, they were
outside of
a
couple spot, playoff teams. They were irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It matters where the stars are at.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't get too like, I can't believe it's the Lakers again. It's where the stars are, friends.
Because that moves it. That's what gets eyeballs on the league. And in that same sense, there's a lot of people that hate the Lakers, not just here in Sacramento, around the league. And it's like, I'm enjoying them losing.
Exactly. And I have no problem if you want to feature LeBron. I hope the Warriors blow them out by 30.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone will have fun with that the next morning on Sports Talk Radio, right?
Yeah. And I think it's hard to have full teams that are must watch. There's players, like you said, the stars that get you to watch these teams. And we'll see when this ultimately all the schedules get finalized. But the Lakers getting the love, as they always do. All right, we've got a final segment coming up. We got to look at the news and the way that we do it and see how Jay does on our celebrity birthdays. That and more to wrap things up next.
You want more Kings coverage? Sactown Sports 1140's giving it to you.
You know, you'll be watching and thinking, man, like, I guess Keegan, he's maybe not as good today. And then you look up and he's got, 12 and 8 and it's, the second quarter and he is just so calm, so efficient.
I think it's absolutely what Sacramento needs. I think there's this sense that something special is starting to fall into place.
Log on to SactownSports.com for exclusive content. SactownSports.com.
Jason Ross here to tell you about ACR Solar, acrsolar.com or 916-481-7200. Again, 916-481-7200. We are older home owners. We've been in our house a long time. Our roof was in okay shape when we bought the house, but now year after year after year after winter and summer and the heat and the rain and all the different things we have gone through and the house, it's time. Our roof is shot. It's gone. We need to get a new one. And so you start the process. Never had to do that before. So you do like we do for most anything when you need some sort of home repair or home project. You get multiple estimates. So we talked to a couple of different roofing companies, all good. But when we landed with ACR Solar, it's just different. The connection was great. It felt right, and we knew we were in good hands when we talked to Joe, the roofing expert there at ACR Solar, and explained everything in a way that he had all the knowledge. You could just tell with his years of experience that we were in good hands, like I said, and then picking out the colors and the style and the different things that we were looking for.
hot?
Yeah, hot. Real hot.
And what's not?
It's not good.
Brought to you by American Energy, Air and Solar, Sacramento's complete heating and cooling company, and second opinion partner.
Who is hot, you ask?
Who is hot, JayMarZZ?
Those golly gosh darn San Francisco Giants.
Oh, we're going with the hot category for them.
Yeah, no. Hey, they win 3 straight, a sweep of the Pirates, putting them back at 500 at 57-57. So congratulations on your mediocrity, San Francisco Giants fans.
You don't know, Jay. They could win out.
Who's not?
Who's not?
Yankees and the Red Sox combined.
I don't like this anymore.
There were 13 total runs scored in their weekend series. It was the fewest total runs scored in a 3+ game series between the two franchises in the last 20 years, and the 4th fewest in the divisional era, which started in 1969.
All that, and there was a Judgian blast.
There was.
We all were able to rise and watch Aaron Judge leave the yard. But
is that a solo shot?
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Home run 46, RBI 100. Need him to get to 50 pretty quick here to make it fun.
Oh, so that's your barometer? If he gets to 50, then we're really starting to count down?
I'm counting down already.
Okay, I was just making sure.
I've been tweeting every time he does it. I mean, I'm just...
Yes, I see the all-rise tweets quite often.
Someone said, why don't you just make your Twitter account just an Aaron Judge, home run meter? I'm like,
not
don't tweet that much. I guess I could.
You do. It is the one time when I do see you tweet, it usually has all-rise.
Yeah, some sort of, Aaron Judge video or tribute to him or something like that. I really like him. I like him as a player, like the Yankees.
But will he be back next year?
That's the thing. I do not know. All right, it's
time. What is your confidence level?
Actually, I'm pretty confident. 80%. 80. But,
based upon just like how the hell could you let this guy go?
Right. He's likely going to be the MVP. They're likely still going to, they're going to be a playoff team.
He's the unanimous in American League MVP. If you're voting for someone else at this point, take your ballot away.
And I just think the heat they'll take for losing him. And what's the replacement? Like, unless they feel like they've got something ready to go, but
Dave Winfield.
Well, then we go. Dave Winfield and Reggie Jackson are coming back for the Yankees. As long as they bring Mattingly, then I'm good.
Yeah, I think that would make you a very happy guy.
It would.
One day he'll manage the team.
Okay. I'm good with that.
I'm confident that'll happen.
Good with that. All right, let's news it.
Stand by on this frequency. It's time for the news of the day.
Thank you for ruining the show and dropping a steamer on my journalistic integrity.
Today's important headlines, intelligent analysis, hard-hitting interviews.
Yeah, this is none of those things.
Here's Carmichael Dave and Jason Ross.
Oh my God, I love those guys.
Thank you. Carmichael Dave back with us tomorrow. Jason Ross, JayMarZZ here. Yesterday, you mentioned the Yankees and the Red Sox. They played last night. There was a lot made about the Manning cast this year, which I think was really good. They tried to do the same thing with baseball. I think it fits better with baseball because of the idle time.
Yeah, for sure.
Michael Kay and A-Rod have been doing that. But they had Jeets, the captain, in there yesterday. And here's a couple excerpts from that.
You guys okay? I mean, everybody asked me, what's going to happen when they're in the same room together? Are you guys okay?
Are you the referee?
I don't want to be.
First of all, now it's Phil Donahue now.
My hair's not white yet.
For those who don't know, Google Phil Donahue. Now we're on the talk show. It's like the time we did the interview at the charity event. Yeah. And then we sit down in the chair, and then the guy starts asking CNBC. questions about relationship 20-something years ago. So, yeah, no, they turned everything. Into E-channel. Yeah, no.
So again, are you guys okay? Did we get that answered?
I don't think so.
Phil Donahue reference.
Dude, that's a throwback. I remember being a wee child, and my grandmother loved having Phil Donahue. It was Phil Donahue, Geraldo,
Yeah, I was a
Sally
wee child
Jesse
when those-
Raphael.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yes, Sally Jesse. Good pull. Here's one more from Jeter and A-Rod.
So I'm hungry. I'm starving in the morning. So I open the fridge. There's nothing there. He does have some cereal. So now I'm eating Lucky Charms, no milk. I get a little orange juice, throw it in the Lucky Charms, and that was my breakfast of champions. And of course, he kicked our butts. That's the reason why.
Is this true, Doug?
I don't remember all the details. I can't remember.
Well, I had to eat the cereal with orange juice.
Yeah. So.
But you can tell about your fridge back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, my fridge still doesn't have much in it, to be quite honest.
Okay.
What a bad host.
I know.
You hear all about
Well, yeah, the
Derek
baseballs,
Jeter.
the gift bags were for
Yeah,
others.
I would say the gift bags. I'm like, dude, you couldn't even have some milk in your fridge?
Those were for other people.
Oh, were they?
Those were reserved for others. All right, here we go. Let's see. Could you pull this off, Jay? A South Carolina man is aiming to break his own Guinness World Record by taking his custom-built golf cart to speeds exceeding 150 miles per hour.
Sounds like something Doc Brown would try to do.
Yes, Robbie Steen.
1.21 gigawatts in the golf cart.
Let's see. Robbie Steen of Fort Mill, who previously set the record for fastest golf cart with 118.76 in 2014.
Oh, Lord.
Said he'll attempt to set the record even faster on Wednesday, this time with the increased record to faster than 150. You're jumping from 118 to 150? I mean, 120 breaks your own record.
By the way, I'm terrified to go 150 in a golf cart.
Well, the thing is,
Jason,
accidents happen.
Yes.
So it's like, oh, I got up to 130, got the speed wobbles, and then crashed. It's not going to go well.
Oh my gosh! Well,
just break the record and stop.
How about
or don't break the record.
I really want to know this. I'd like to get in on the mindset of the human who wants to break the fastest golf cart record. Why?
Yeah.
What is the point?
I don't know. I don't get it.
There are so many Guinness
adrenaline rush.
There's a lot of ways to get an adrenaline rush beyond
dying.
that.
Yeah.
Yes.
This one won't cause you death, but it's near record as well. Let's see. A New Jersey library said a former patron recently returned a book that he had checked out years earlier. The Jersey City Free Public Library said Bob Jablonski, who's 89, checked out Odin Rudolph's book, Hitler.
Oh.
From James J. Ferris High School branch in 1947. So he checked out the book 75 years ago. They did not say there was any
So what's the late fee on that?
overdue book fees, but yeah, I don't know what it would have been. But I guess the book is still in pristine condition and has the original reference card still in it.
Look at that.
Look at Bob Jablonski taking care. I guess he came across it, cleaning up some stuff and found the book from. Would you return that book, or you're like, you know what, at this point, it's mine?
That's now, again, we talked about getting in the head of guy who wants to break the fastest golf cart record. I'd like to get in the head of guy who decided, you said 49?
In 1947, so it's
47.
75 years old. He's 89. So nobody at that library is still alive.
75 years later, what made you think to return the book?
It's your property. It's yours.
Dude, again, possession is 9/10 of the law. And after 75 years, it's yours, dude.
You've had 9/10 of the possession of the book.
Yes. I want to know what made him, is he getting ready to die? And he just created a list of, things I need to do before passing?
Clear my conscience.
Overdue library book. Yeah. Does he have a Blockbuster VHS still lying around?
Be kind, rewind.
Be kind, rewind. Take your old ass to Bend, Oregon, and make sure you return the damn
to
thing.
The one place
There's
that's still
one
there.
open.
Man. All right, on this date, which is, of course, August 15th, back in 2018, the movie Crazy Rich Asians came out.
Never saw it.
It was a good movie. Freddy versus Jason in 2003.
Never saw it.
I didn't see that one. The Expendables 2.
Never saw it. Never saw the 1, 2, 3, or I think there might even be a 4th.
Is there 4? Wow, 2012. Did you see the Larry Sanders Show? Hey,
nope.
Now.
I know what it is, though.
Those came out. All right, we'll see how you do on Celebrity Birthday.
Yeah!
Here we go. JayMarZZ. These people are celebrating their birthday today.
Happy birthday already.
To Jennifer Lawrence.
Jenny Lawrence. Or is it Lawrence? Jennifer Lawrence is 36.
Jennifer Lawrence is 32 today.
Sorry, Jennifer, for aging.
Happy birthday.
I thought she was older than that.
Happy birthday to Joe Jonas.
Joe Jonas. Okay.
Of the Jonas Brothers.
I have interviewed Joe Jonas.
So you should know this. Close personal friend of JayMarZZ, Joe Jonas. You probably got him a gift. I know he got you one.
Joe Jonas is 32.
You know what? Yesterday he was. Today he is 33.
Snaps.
Just make that note on the card you sent.
I will. By the way, do you know who the Jonas Brothers' favorite Dodger of all time is? Andre Ethier.
Oh, I thought there was a joke.
No, I just wanted you to know that they're big Dodgers fans, and they loved Andre Ethier.
Smooth swinging lefty, number 16.
Yes.
Andre Ethier.
Love them some Andre Ethier.
Ben Affleck. What is Big Ben turning today?
53.
Ben is 50.
50 solid.
Yeah,
okay.
solid 50.
I thought he was older than J-Lo.
How about Anthony Anderson?
Oh, the legend, 47.
Anthony Anderson is 52.
Wow.
Today. All right, here we go. Everybody's favorite, yours, mine, and the world's. Boban. Boban Marjanovic.
29.
Oh, wow. Boban is 34.
Really?
Yeah, he's 34 today.
I guess he just has that youthful, what's the word I'm looking for? Charisma to him.
Yeah, he's got a good, playful personality.
Did you see when Tobias Harris had tweeted about I'm marrying my best friend today, and everyone was like, "You're marrying Boban,"
and then he had to do the response just for it's not Boban.
That was pretty great.
But I think we all would have been okay with that.
Yeah.
Happy birthday today to Deborah Messing from Will and Grace.
Deborah Messing, also from no, that's different. That's different. Deborah. Deborah Messing is 54.
Deborah Messing today, Jay, is 54.
Yes!
Right on the nose.
Nailed it.
All right. How about former Oakland A, former New York Yankee? I don't know where else. Scott Brocious.
Scotty Brocious, 56.
Scott Brocious today is 56. Jay has got 2 in a row. Our last one, I don't think you've ever gotten 3 in a row on the dot. For the personal show world record, Eric Bieniemy.
Oh, Eric Bieniemy.
Can he get 3 in a row on the dot?
48.
The streak is over.
Damn it.
53 for Eric Bieniemy.
Oh, man.
Good work, though, Jay.
Thank you.
You got 2 right on the dot.
I'm trying to make an effort. I take this very seriously.
We always beat Dave.
That's not saying much.
He'll be back tomorrow. We'll all be back tomorrow. Much more to get into tomorrow. I was impressed, Jay. Good job.
One of my life's goals is to always keep you impressed with me, so I'm glad to be able to do that.
Your Deborah Messing and Scott Brocious ages just beautifully. 54 and 56. All right, that's it for us. Again, Carmichael Dave is back tomorrow for JayMarZZ. I'm Jason Ross. Thank you so much for listening. In case you missed anything, go back to Sactown Sports and find it on replay. That's it. Jim Rome is next. See ya.
You ask for more 49ers coverage, and Sactown Sports 1140 listen.
Let's go, Niner game.
Get all the latest 49ers news and notes online at SactownSports.com.